Hello, everybody, and welcome to Last Man Standing. I'm Dan Hollifield, your host, and this is where we try and prove that there is, yes indeed, life after stupid o'clock. And with me tonight is Donna Carleen, and hopefully we may have a couple other
Hey,
surprise guests popping in. It just depends on their schedule and whether or not they have time or interest. Uh, I am going to be the last person ever to say, y'all shouldn't have a personal life. You need to be here on the show and doing this so you got commitments. No, you don't. You got a life. Live it to your fullest. And how you doing, Donna?
oh, I'm doing fine. That all depends too upon what you mean by living it by the fullest.
That's up to you. You decide. It's your life.
I had a nephew told me my life was boring, and I
Oh,
told him, "Oh, honey, by this time I deserve boring. I don't think
excitement.
I."
Excitement's one of those things where it can wear off real quick.
Well, when you're young and stupid and free,
Mm, yeah, but when you're old and smart ass, you learn how to do a few things.
exactly.
Fun is what you make of it.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I hate chiggers.
That's what happens when you walk around outside on the yard.
I got these at a park down in Monticello, Illinois.
And that's probably even worse than out in the yard. Because they're wild. They're not tamed by the dreaded lawnmower.
Oh well.
Not, not,
I've never had this reaction back when I was on the farm.
yeah. Um, about the worst thing you could run across was whatever was living in the hay or one of the stalls you had to muck out if you had cows or horses or whatever. Um,
Mm,
we didn't have livestock, so I was spared that, but we baled an awful lot of hay,
mm.
and there were times when we baled wheat straw or oat straw and sold it to landscaping companies, and there were a lot of little critters living in that too.
Tell me about it. Yeah, we baled a lot of hay. We had corn and beans. We ran 3 seasons of cows.
Ooh, don't envy you that. Hey, Rich is here, so
Hey,
we're
Rich.
doing good. Oh, and the camera's in focus tonight too. So
No, you mean he's in focus.
no, no, he's always well focused. It's the camera. The camera does not function occasionally. Oh,
Yeah,
we can't hear you, Rich.
not a word.
And
No, and
I don't show you muted, so it must be on your end. Nope.
yeah, and I don't know if
Sometimes
it's a.
sometimes it's like the green room. The microphone doesn't want to work the first damn time, so you got to come out. You got to go out and come back in, or just keep clicking the button until it actually works.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but my father was the first independent farmer, this is back in the 60s, to lay down a cement floor to put pigs on.
Knowing pigs, as long as they've got a pond of some kind and basically a little bit of a mud wallow that they can enjoy, um,
Nope. This
they're
was a
fine.
converted machine shed.
Oh, really?
He laid down cement flooring, and they were kept in there all the time. And then he had a runoff where he would go in and hose the floor down every day. But we
Well,
were the first private farmer in Illinois to do that.
wise man. Let's give you a microphone check here, Rich. Well, you do have to say something so we know whether or not your microphone is working.
Maybe he's not hearing us either.
No, it actually helps if I.
Well, it was working until the word I.
Mm-hmm.
So undo whatever that last change was, and
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's I installed uh, a voice meter thing to tie into OBS so I could do
Ah,
some stuff for some pre-recorded stuff. So it helps if I remember to actually take my audio off of that.
Mm.
yeah. OBS likes to be the primary camera and microphone service for your computer, and doesn't like to relinquish control even when you don't have ABS or OBS running.
Yeah,
Um,
what I was running through was voice meter. So because I want to plan little stupid um, soundboards and stuff like that because I like being goofy.
hey, nothing wrong with
Gorsh.
that.
Preaching to the choir.
You really. If you can't have fun, what use is it being alive?
For sure.
It's a
Exactly.
waste of time if you're not having fun.
You really want me to
Unless
say
you're getting
something to that?
payoff in some other way.
No, I'll stand by my original statement. Um,
There's certain things I'm willing to sacrifice my fun for my wife, my kids, my grandkids. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm getting some kind of payment, some kind of enjoyment because I'm getting to enjoy their enjoyment.
No, I would consider that under the heading of having fun. I mean, seriously. Uh, in some cases, it may be vicariously, but then again, you get to enjoy their joy.
Yeah, I was
Nothing's
kind
wrong
of
with
thinking
being
of
vicarious.
the 9 to 5 grind. That's not too much
Yeah.
fun.
9 to 5. Oh, that must be something to do with that W word. Oh, that's right. You two guys do still work. Sorry.
Technically,
Well,
mine's 7:30 to 4, but
I clock in as to whether or not I'm actually working. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that knows what I actually do.
Back when I was at my job at the florist, I was a secretary bookkeeper. I was talking to one of my friends who was a designer, and I said something about I don't wake up until 10 o'clock. And my boss's son happened to walk by about then, and he looked at me and says, "But you come to work at 8." And I'm like, "So what's your point, Mikey?"
Yeah, really. Yes, and
just because my body is here does not mean that I have arrived mentally yet.
I was like, you obviously don't know what I do. I do all the things that I can do by rote from 8 to 10. I can file I can be asleep and file alphabetically and get everything perfect,
mhm,
you know?
that's like me with Excel spreadsheets. I can write a new spreadsheet, but don't expect me to actually have a coherent thought until my second cup of coffee at least. I get it. I get to work about 6:30 every day. I start getting paid at 7.
Mm.
What I do in that other half hour is basically make a cup of coffee and sit down and try and focus on my cell phone so I can play solitaire till the clock says I'm getting paid. Then I
Mm-hmm.
go to work. Um,
I
Well,
Friday,
sit down over there,
Friday, yep,
mm,
um, log in, punch in early so that it says that I punched in at 7:30, even though it's only 7 o'clock, and screw around until I hear um, either my Excel go off telling me I've got a meeting,
Mm-hmm.
or someone calls me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I try and have things arranged to where if there's something that's absolutely vital, uh, the other people I depend upon for that vital thing have provided me with raw materials so I can actually get started. And if they don't, I have to find stuff to keep me occupied and have the timestamps on the computer to prove that I am occupied in a productive way. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there. Oh,
That
Friday, my supervisor came up about lunchtime and goes, "Hey, I just found out that I don't have a QC person. Would you do that today?" And I go, "Yeah, no problem. Would you stay late?" But no, I won't because my wife expects me to get home, and we are going to take the trash and the recycling to the landfill. That is a commitment I am not willing to forego. I mean, I don't care if you're willing to pay me time and a half. You did not tell me yesterday, so I
Yeah.
cannot. I have to have a day's notice
Mm-hmm.
to stay longer than my contractual period of work, and
Yeah.
they
Well,
get this feeling that I'm supposed to behave as if I'm a member of management, and I can just stay as long as somebody wants, and I'm going. No, I'm a union member. I have a contract. I go home when I go home. This is what I this is why I'm willing to go on strike. Don't violate my contract. Um,
my manager. Well, I luck out. My manager does not understand technology. Yes, she is an IT manager who does not understand technology. Um,
you would
but
be surprised at
you
how
know,
prevalent that
that
is.
was Carl's problem.
she also doesn't understand time management either. You know, oh, I need you to do this, 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 and this. All right, when do you need it by? Tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. All right, so you're paying me overtime, right? No, I need you to complete it by the end of the day. It's
Don't work that way.
3 p.m. It's 3 p.m. I clock out at 4. Remember that time in the she enjoys during my yearly review reminding me that I should review her as well. Um, and I hopefully I'm hoping she means it job wise and not any weird way I got to take it to
Hmm.
HR. But anyways, and she's like, if I'm not, providing what you need to be able to get what you need done by, in the normal work hours, we need to talk and we need to see what's going on. I'm like, well, here's the thing. Things take time. You have to give me the materials and time, and I can pull shit off. I can I can pull off miracles. Um,
Hmm.
Not meaning to brag or anything like that, but it's my job. I was on IT help desk for around 10 years or so, a little over 10 years, because this year marks being in IT for a little over 20 years. Um, my job on help desk is to make miracles happen. Um, because a lot of times it's like, well, we need this by blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, I need you to reboot your computer. Oh, I don't have time for that. Okay, do you need me to fix the issue or not? We need you to fix the issue. You have to reboot your computer. Well, we can't do that. We don't have time. I guarantee you the time that you are going to lose in rebooting your computer, you will make up by having rebooted your computer. Um, but it's like, all right, well, call me when you're willing to reboot your computer. Otherwise, there's jack all I can do. I don't have a magic wand saying, bink, it's fixed. Y'all might
Mm-hmm.
think I do. And then when I became a trainer, they took away all my cool help desk powers. Yet, part of my title is still user support, which
Yeah.
means sometimes I still have to do help desk calls. And they route things to me, and I route it right back, going, "You took away my administrative access to be able to perform that thing.
Yeah.
I
Function,
can't
yeah.
do that,
Mm-hmm.
you know." And they get mad at me, and I'm like, "Give me the powers back. Give me the instruction on the things that are new. I can do this. I will do
Really.
this. I'm a team player." You know, um, in fact, that is the one thing that my previous manager never rated me below outstanding in. You know, I'll stay late when you let me know, especially if you let me know a couple days in advance. "Oh, hey, Rich, we're doing rollouts this week. Can you stay till 6 p.m. on this date, this date, this date, this date?" Fuck yeah,
Yeah. Really.
all for it.
Advance notice. That's all
Um,
we need.
Mm-hmm.
and if
Yes.
not, let me make sure that I've got a way home. The way I have been commuting to the office for the past several years, if I know a day in advance, I can take the train, which I have a lot of options. If I take the bus, I only have, uh, well, at the time I had 5 options up in the morning, 5 options back at night, and anything outside that, I would be just completely screwed. Um, so, but now working from home, it's like, if it's something that's work from home, tell me, do you want me to not log in at 7:30 and work late? Do you want me to work overtime? Whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Hey, Chris. Glad you could join us.
Thank you.
And
Howdy, Chris.
How you doing,
uh,
Rick?
I can't complain. I'm on the right side of the green. Anything else is getting greedy.
mm-hmm.
Yep. Hello,
I
Donna.
had people at work
Hey, Chris.
that would always get pissed off at me because it's like, 8 o'clock in the morning. How's it going, Rich? I've had better days. I've been, had worse days. I can't complain. I'm on the right side of the green. Anything else is getting greedy. Why are you so
Really.
negative? I'm not being negative. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I haven't woke up yet. I have no idea
Mm-hmm.
how the day is going to go.
Yeah.
You
You're
know,
being
I
realistic.
don't know. Is this day going to be better than the birth of my child, my wedding day? Highly doubt it. Is it going to be worse than the day that my mom passed? I highly doubt it. I'm happy being somewhere in the middle. I don't want to beat any of those extremes. I don't want to put forth the effort to try to beat either of those extremes because that's a lot of effort in having a really bad day, or that's a lot of effort in having a really good day. You know.
I about
But then
made one of
again,
my coworkers. I about made one of my
sorry.
coworkers fall out of his chair one day. He uh he asked me how I was that day, and I told him I was somewhere between fairly decent and sort of shitty.
My office manager at the florist, the owner's daughter, of course, was not a morning person either. So everybody knew if you don't come in unless you absolutely needed to. It would, and it was actually better, believe it or not, to come to me than come to her. So I got the job of um, okaying who was going to charge, who was going to open a house account, looking up credit card numbers. Because back then we had those little books that came out that you had to flip through. And then they gave me the job of, oh, you've got such a nice telephone voice. You can do the FTD and teleflora calls. Okay. This means that during the holidays, instead of 8 to 5, I would go in at 6 o'clock do all that customer stuff until 5, and then from 5 until 2 in the morning, do my office work. And you should have seen Carl that the first holiday after we got married, because we got married the day after Thanksgiving, which my temporary manager was not happy about, but I didn't like him, so I showed him right in the book where, see, I can do it. Now, do you want me to take a whole week off for a honeymoon, or should I just take Saturday off to get married? And yeah.
Oh, and the reason I looked away, it
Mm-hmm.
just started raining.
Uh-oh.
Well, no, there was no thunder involved, so the power may not go out, but if the last 3 days of this week is any indication, I could vanish at any time.
Okay. We have been warned.
Yes. Well, I'll be on here until I'm sitting in the dark going, where to put the damn flashlight. But other than that, we're good to go. Um,
Right here on the desk.
mm, yeah, same here. Although it seems like I either need to replace the batteries or take the battery pack out and clean the connectors, because it's not working 100% the way it normally does. But I haven't got the little red light on the end of the flashlight going, need new batteries, I'm starving. So, we're I'm kind of leaning that I need to take a number 2 pencil and wear the eraser down to clean the contacts on the inside of the flashlight. Yes, yes, I know. I had a TRS-80. I know the utility of a pencil eraser. Um,
Actually, another thing that is very handy to use a eraser for is for the little chip bit right here. If a chip reader won't read it, it helps a lot with that as well.
Yep.
Learned that when the wife and I were buying beef jerky one day, and our chip on our card wasn't working, and they did that, and they explained that to us. I'm like, wow. Considering I've always got one of these with me, that's a very good tip. Well, almost always have one of these with me, I should say. And actually sometimes have one of these with me, which all this is an eraser.
Well, I'm usually, if I'm carrying a writing utensil, it's usually a 000 point gel pen, because I love those. I absolutely love those, because I can write really, really small, just in case I screw up and have to mark through and put the right number on the form before I type it up. And it's amazing that how many readings off of weigh scales that will go to 3 and 5 decimal points will change from moment to moment, even if they're in a plexiglass cage where your breath does not affect it. But temperature does. And evidently there are other things that do as well. And I'm going, y'all want me to have this kind of accuracy, but this thing kind of floats up and down like a yo-yo. And okay, you get my best guess. That's it. That's it. You get my best guess. This is what it said when I wrote it down. If it changes, not my fault. I'm too busy. We've got a little intern who is she's on her last 2 weeks of her project that she's going to do for us before she goes back to her normal college classes. So she is working her tail off trying to get this thing done. And they've given her an impossible assignment. I mean, I've looked at it and I go, someone who is not aware of the definition of reality has told you to do this, right? Um, she's doing her best. She's gonna have a really good report sheet. The project's gonna work, and the company's gonna go. Don't care if that's the thing that does the job the best. We can't do that because that particular thing has been copyrighted by our competition. We've got to come up with a different solution that is different from what our competition does.
Now, their copyright, is that all of the frequencies of pink or one specific range within pink?
It seems to be the entire range of pink.
Okay.
Wow.
And
Because I was going to
we
say,
have been
if it's just a certain frequency, just go like, 2 digits off. Change it just that slight hair. Because
well
it's a dick move that works in corporations.
the chemical solution that works best for what she's been told to do is indeed very pink. But corporate's going to go make it blue, make it green, make it anything but pink because we cannot violate their copyright, their trademark, whichever is the applicable term for that particular thing. But
Probably trade.
we have been very very comfortable with yellow for 50 years, and now the our glass is entirely white, and you need some kind of dye in there to tell when that's too wet. It didn't get dried out enough. That's not good enough. We need to call the guys in the hot end and tell them crank this down, and the guys that are running the curing oven crank that up, and yeah, that's esoteric, arcane, uh, not physics but magic that we have to use to do what we do. But there are rules, unfortunately.
It's not quite so esoteric.
Well,
If
it's
you're
chemistry.
if you're in a manufacturing that requires heating and drying of stuff,
And it don't get dried. Mm,
yeah, whether it be textiles or something else or stuff that you do or at your place of employment. Anyone that's dealt with any of that stuff knows what you're talking about.
mm,
Anyone not familiar with any of that, yeah, it would be esoteric and Greek too. But
yeah,
Before jumping ship and joining IT, I used to work in a injection molding facility for plastics. We used to make a good portion of the hardware for um, Anderson Windows for their sight lines, which were a piece where if you have windows that you've got the little things where you can push in and lean your window in to go ahead and clean the outside from the inside. The
mm-hmm.
little pieces on top are called sight lines. The company I used to work for used to make those. And I if the plastic goes into the barrel that it gets melted in and it has too much liquid in it, it's going to form gas burns, and it's going to cause, when everything is injected, to look really weird because of the excess steam that's coming in with it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I fully understand the wet versus dry versus humidity versus temperature and trying to get that thing to dial in so perfectly so that you get a material that works for the applications that you're working for. Don't ever want to go back to that ever again.
It
I
sounds
have
really,
forgotten
really
more about
finicky.
plastic.
mm,
I've forgotten more about plastic injection molding than a lot of people will ever learn in their lifetime.
mm.
probably a lot of people who are in the industry, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I used
Um,
to work in a dye house, and we used to take knitted sock that was actually yarn and run it through dry line where you had a steamer, then you had a rinse tank, and then you had a dryer, and then you had the end feeder where you put it in cans to take out to the winders where they wound it into cones of yarn.
Hmm. Now, unfortunately, um, it has been suggested that I do not talk too much about work because for some reason they think it's rocket science, and there are industrial spies everywhere trying to get our secrets. And I'm going, we melt sand. That's it.
Yeah, and you're not the only industry that does that.
Hmm. I mean, seriously, the parent company made the window glass and the mirrors for the Palace of Versailles while it was being constructed. They are that old. And I'm going, you're trying to keep things secret that cavemen invented. It's not like there's uranium involved, you know. There's no plutonium in this process. Um,
Hell, there's people in Appalachia that make melt sand into glass.
uh-huh. And do some beautiful work. Look at it. Look at the people that were making timpani lamps. Look at the people that were making stained glass for cathedrals and whatnot. They know more about it than we do. They can make it change colors.
I have an artist friend that does wonderful work with stained glass.
And I believe I might know her name. Yes, and she's
Yes, she was at a vendor's table in the dealer's room a few
hmm
weeks ago.
she was actually in the elevator with me, and I didn't recognize her. Uh, because I had not connected her name with her face.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had seen her for years, but at, for some reason, the wiring in my head is not quite up to spec. So,
And she has made some amazing pieces of artwork.
oh Lord, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And these things, they just, oh, Mike, Jimmy, we got another one. We got a live one. Evidently, it's daytime in the Netherlands. So
Hey, Mike.
Good
Hey,
morning.
Mike.
I'm a little hungover. My friends tried to kill me yesterday.
I've read that post.
Yeah, I've had 2 extra strong beers. Could you give me a light one? Yeah, totally. Comes back with another strong one. All right.
Mm.
So
These
I said
things, they
12 for 8.
happen.
These things
define
happen.
light.
And
Over there, it's not the same thing as over here.
really,
Yeah,
Well, well, person to
their
person,
regular
it's like
beer's a lot stronger.
yeah.
Our regular is 5%. My strong one was 8.5. But the light one I was talking about was a 4% Kriek. So a cherry beer. I love myself a cherry beer. But yeah,
oh,
I had an
and
interesting way home.
Mike, you might want to complain to your government. Somebody over there has banned "Stupid O'clock" because of my theme music. They've claimed
Uh,
they own the copyright, but there was also 73 other countries around the world that claim that they own the copyright to my music as
I'm
well.
still upset that Djibouti's one of the people protesting.
yeah.
Hey, um, it doesn't upset me a bit. I'm just going.
I mean,
Somebody's
why would
got
a
a
place
really
that small even
stupid bot.
care?
Oh Lord. It's one of those nuisance things. Somebody's bot went hog wild and claimed that uh, uh, basically they own C sharp, so I can't
Mm.
use one, or B flat, or you know, an F
So
minor chord or whatever it was.
that's just public domain. Now the arrangement of it might
Well,
not be. But
Hmm. I've got the
if
copyright
you
listed.
keep it
I mean,
under, if you keep it under 4 bars, um, then I think that falls under fair use.
well, I'm
Even
not
if
stealing
it
anything.
is a
I'm not.
copyrighted. Well, no. What I mean is, even if you are taking something, if it's under 4 bars, they they can't do jack. Or last I
No, they
read, they
can't.
can't do jack. Now this has been years.
It it
Um,
it doesn't matter if it's 18 minutes long. I
Yeah.
composed it. I own the copyright
so you can go
outright. I have
into.
it is listed on my Bandcamp site where the music is available. It's copyright. It's an enforceable copyright. I own it. So whatever they want to say. And Joe Dog is going, I believe I will talk to a lawyer about this. And I'm going, oh yeah, you want a new grill, don't you?
There's that kind of rubber smokes.
shoot,
Oh,
he don't. With the upgrades he's made to his current one,
oh, Grillzilla is awesome. Just looking at the photographs of just work in progress. It's even better than what I saw at Hallowcon last year. So,
oh,
oh
it's more or less finished.
Grillzilla.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
it is huge. It is powerful. It is
And
hot.
mighty.
And Miss Megan can make that sucker sit up and dance to her tune. And you probably would praise her cooking above many professional European chefs and several others, especially the idiot that shouts at people for his cooking show. Um,
Ramsey.
Yeah.
I was not
The
going to
guy
say a
that can't even
name.
make a grilled cheese.
Yeah,
Mm.
the guy that can't even make peanut butter and jelly without shouting at people. Yeah.
No, he's got a grilled cheese video where he's trying to tell people how to make a grilled cheese, and the cheese isn't even melted.
I can make a grilled cheese, and I'm not a cook, much less a 5-star, whatever the hell, chef.
Honestly, Gordon Ramsay is a wonderful cook, and he's actually a really nice guy. The screaming is literally all reality TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's all we see. We haven't met him in person yet. Yet. It could happen. Seriously. That's what one of the things we were saying about in Stupid O'clock. Um, a lot of us have been privileged to meet a huge number of people and get to know them as individual people. And then other folks that have not been so lucky go, such and such big name? And I go, well, yeah, I even know which brand of beer to buy for them.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, wow, wow, wow. And I'm going, it's not that important. They put their pants on one leg at a time like everybody else. And I did not understand that phrase until I was old enough to try and get dressed standing up instead of sitting on my bed. When I was young enough to be able to get dressed sitting on the bed, I go, one leg at a time? No. And then first time I stood up, I go, that's
Ah.
where that came from. Hey, I'm slow. I ain't stupid. Oh
If
Lord.
Lou Ferrigno has a drink in hand, stay the hell away from him.
But he's a nice
He
guy.
is he is an Lou Ferrigno. He's an asshole.
Really?
Oh yeah.
First time I've heard that one.
Yeah.
He literally fell on me and my best friend at a Gen Con at a bar. We weren't actually at the con. We were a couple blocks over at the bar. Spilled his drink all over us. Not even. I'm sorry. Almost knocked both of
Ah.
us to the ground. Not even in an I'm sorry.
How drunk was he? Probably very.
Not sure, which is why I'm saying if he's got a drink in his hand, stay the hell away from him. Although,
Yeah, sure.
also, he is very monetarily
Ah.
uh,
Motivated.
motivated. You know,
Mhm.
if you're anywhere, it's like, can we get a picture with you? No, but you can, or yeah, but you have to charge, or you have to pay me, $5,
Mm-hmm.
$10, $20 for the selfie. Or no, you have
Oh,
to buy one from the booth and stuff like that. So now maybe outside of the con, he might be a genuinely awesome person. Don't know. Whenever I've encountered him at Gen Con, complete asshole.
I've only ever heard stories from other actors working with him, so my opinion is highly biased.
Now, the late Don S. Davies from both MacGyver and Sarget HG1, such an awesome individual. Um, he stopped to talk with me and a bunch of friends at another Gen Con, and then like a day or two later, um, on the floor, he wasn't due at a booth to be autographing or handshaking or anything like that. I just hear this real deep Texas drawl. Think about getting one of yourself one of them big knobs, and yeah, I kind of moved out of my way, or moved out of his way so he could look at the booth, not even looking over the shoulder to see who he was. And then I looked, I'm like, oh hey, and struck up a conversation. A couple days later, saw him in line. He talked to me and my best friend for about 15 minutes on the vacation habits of Richard Dean Anderson.
We were talking about Jimmy
Because
doing Stupid O'Clock, and I don't know if they're still there, but there used to be a sci-fi con over in Indianapolis, and he was scheduled to go there, but there was no way in hell that we could afford the entry. But we went ahead and went over, figuring, okay, maybe we'll see him from afar. Well, we ended up in the same hallway that he was. He and his handlers were coming down to go into the con, and we just kind of like waved from a distance, and he came over and he says, introduced himself like he had to,
Mm-hmm.
and his handlers were like, Mr. Jordan, we've got to go. Is he, just a minute now, just a minute. Are you going to be in there? No, we don't have the price of admission. Well, that's just terrible. I said, do you want my autograph?
aw.
That would be awesome, sir. I mean, if you have the time, because we're trying to be considerate because we're not paying anything, and yeah, he he stood and talked to us for maybe like 5 minutes. His handlers were going nuts, but was a sweet guy,
That's awesome.
and
Yep.
Leonard Nimoy's a very nice guy. Who's the guy that played Q?
John Delancey.
John
Jim
Delancey,
Delancey.
total asshole.
Uh,
His attitude at a con is totally cute. He thinks he's all that and
mm,
a
I was going
And
to
a
say
bologna
box of
sandwich,
popcorn, yeah.
and he's
he's
not.
just got that look about him.
Yeah, and I remember when he was on a soap opera, so I think I could probably take him down a notch or two, but he wouldn't like it and he'd make me suffer for it, so
Mm. and we met the little gal that played Yeoman Rand at the same con we met Leonard and him.
Oh
She was just
yes,
the sweetest. She was just the sweetest gal. We
she
bought
always came
her.
across that way, even in the part.
Yeah, She hung out with the fans.
Yeah.
Grace Lee Whitney, right?
Right, that's
Yep.
it.
Grace Lee Whitney. Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Yeah,
I was
she
having a
had.
senior
Yeah.
moment. I couldn't remember, even though I knew it.
All I could
I had to
remember was
think for a minute.
Whitney, but I couldn't remember if that was her first or last name.
Okay.
My first doctor for Doctor Who was Peter Davison. Got to meet him at a con in Chicago. Nice guy, very nice guy.
Oh yeah. There we go.
Hope you can
Yeah,
share
he
that.
is the.
Mm,
Wait, am I thinking right? Davidson was the 5th Doctor, right?
yes,
I
indeed.
don't know.
Yeah. Um,
No.
blonde guy wore the celery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Not
Yeah.
everybody can
Um,
pull off a decorative vegetable, but
but he did. Yeah,
He is the father-in-law to the
David
10th
Tennant.
Doctor.
mm-hmm.
And it's oh god, his daughter was talking with their kid, and it's who's your favorite Doctor Who, and completely forgot all about Grandpa. Went with Tennant.
Oh, there was a panel David was on, and somebody asked him, "What's the weirdest gift a fan ever gave you?" He didn't miss a beat. He said, "Grandchildren."
Yeah,
Because his daughter Georgia is married to David, so
Yeah.
yep.
and there are a lot of fans that are disgruntled because the doctor's daughter did not show up in more than one episode, and they want more. They want that story to be told. Now, I'm saying
It perfectly can
that
well be too, and it doesn't really necessarily have to
be a
involve.
perfectly valid spin-off. You don't even have to have it in the main show. You could just give her her
Her own
own set of
show.
adventures, just
like a Sarah Jane
like
Chronicles.
yeah, like Clara and Ashaya. I can't remember how to pronounce the name. The Maisie from the Game of Thrones. Maisie is the
Maisie Williams.
actress.
Maisie Williams.
That's the actor's
Yeah,
name.
I
Yeah.
don't remember that character. Yeah.
Well, I never watched Game of Thrones, but I do try to struggle to
Wasn't it
remember
Anya
actors and
Stark she played?
Anya. Okay, yeah. Why was I
Maisie was
thinking?
her actual real name.
Yes,
Maisie
yes.
Williams.
Yeah, she played
And I
Arya
think
Stark.
Anya Stark.
I don't remember the character. I don't. Arya.
Or
Arya.
Arya Stark. I knew it was
'cause
something with that 2 A's.
Yep.
My
As much as
brother-in-law.
go
They're.
ahead.
Sorry, my
As much as
brother-in-law's.
I loved we're going to do it again.
Take a
As much as I
number.
loved Peter Davison as the Doctor, I really loved him as Campion.
Oh yes, Campion. That's that. If you've never seen those are a must-watch. The only problem with Campion is they didn't make enough of them. Now
Well, she
the
didn't write that many books.
hell she didn't. I've got 50 of them.
Oh hell, I'm missing some.
Yeah, you are. Uh, Marjorie Allingham wrote Campion stuff for decades, and only what was it? Uh, 6 titles got made into actual masterpiece theater stuff. Was it 6 or 8, or was it just 4? Because they were 2 hours. They were 2 hours each, and they got shown an hour at a time.
Yeah.
on one week, and then the next was the ending of it. Campion is one of those really really fascinating characters who has a mysterious backstory that nobody ever is privy to except the writer. So she can do anything with it. And God bless her soul, she did a lot with it. But
Damn, I've
uh,
only got 30 books. I gotta go start looking.
well, and originally he was an incidental character in the first one,
First book, yeah.
and then she got started writing, and he took over.
Yeah, damn how those characters can do that to you.
Yeah,
What were you
really.
gonna
She
say, Rich?
I know that one.
Oh, my brother-in-law, his lab is named Arya. In fact, all three of his pets are named after Stark children.
Mm.
Oh no, sorry, I take it back. One is Tyrion Lannister.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
and I thought I was weird naming my cats after childhood imaginary friends.
I mean,
And it's funny how your perception is different. Charcoal is a black mini panther. I have the hardest time remembering to call her Charcoal because when I think of charcoal gray,
Mm.
not black.
Yeah.
But Carl named her.
Should have named her Cole.
yeah.
Did kind of.
Yeah, I just added a jar to it.
Well, there is another name.
I got to name Cal. I first named when we thought it was a her, Callie.
Yeah.
Then the balls dropped. You got something going there, kid?
Been taking them hormone pills, ain't you? Now
Well, you
we've
know
got
when you fool the vet.
that's doing something. We got one named Callie too, but it was short for Calico because she is.
Mm-hmm.
And it just what else you gonna call a tortoiseshell cat?
Tabby.
Hmm.
Shelby.
Well, we got plenty of tabbies. Let me tell you.
Kelly.
We've even got one that has the same markings as an ocelot, and that's what I named her. She's
Well,
she's about yay big. Well, and now she's now she's 14 and has to walk with walkers or something.
well, that's just it. The Calvin. Well, he's got a lot. He's getting whiter as he gets older. But when we first got him, he looked like a calico cat. And calico males are extremely, extremely rare. So we just kind of assumed, oh, it's a female because it's a calico.
Yeah,
I
and
don't think there's many calico males at all, if any.
No,
nope. And
No.
there are not that many full orange cats that are fertile. Most of them are sterile from birth.
Yeah, most calico males are sterile from birth too.
It don't keep them from trying.
Oh hell no!
Yeah.
They still got them. They still use them.
Mm.
Well, just like my hubby. I mean, never mind.
This
Who said
isn't the
that?
green. This isn't the green room, Donna.
This
This is being recorded. This is being
Yeah.
recorded.
Oh crap! He's gonna watch this tomorrow.
Yes, he is.
Yep. You got a lot of explaining to do, Donna.
You ain't.
He'll probably say, "Well, thank you, honey, for assuring them of that."
Yeah, really. And you ain't getting none for at least 12 hours.
Oh no, I already got a date for 3 o'clock.
Hopefully it's with Carl.
Oh yeah, it is.
Slow on the uptake. Yes. Well,
Depends on if he pisses her off or not.
again,
I was gonna say, like, isn't that a normal state of mind?
hey, how hard can it be? Some days all you got to do is wake up.
But he does amuse her, so that
That
is a
counts for a
mitigating
lot.
factor. That is a mitigating factor.
hmm Now y'all got to realize I'm on my third wife, so I have had past experience with just breathing pissing somebody off.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, Lindsay is not like that, and we get along just fine. And
I am so glad the closest I got to marriage was having a fiance.
Mm.
Because, oh boy.
Dan, when you said that, I was reminded of that scene from Hot Shots Part 2
hmm
where Richard Crenna's being tortured. You see, the torturer says, "I see you're no stranger to pain." He says, "I've been married." He's like, "Ooh," and he's like, "Twice." The guy's like, "Ooh."
Yeah,
Yep.
I had two fiancés that went their own way before I was 25. And my sister-in-law pulls me aside and says, "There's no such thing as Mr. Right. There's only Mr. Compromise." And I'm like, wait a minute. So my brother is your Mr. Compromise. And he's not only that, he's your second Mr. Compromise. Really ticked her off when I found Mr. Right.
Yep. And
Wow.
the best revenge is living well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, she hasn't spoken to me for like 25 years, and
oh,
I don't care.
there are still people who are utterly outraged that Lindsay and I have made it 16 years without any problems whatsoever, and we're still just as much in love as we were when we first got together. And they were going, "Oh, this won't last."
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
my favorite comment was by some of my friends who said, "That's crazy, but that's crazy enough to where it might just work."
Yeah.
It did,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
much to my
don't get that
eternal joy.
mindset. Like, why or isn't it not? Why is it not allowed to work? You know?
Well, um, back in the day, it was one and done. You
Yeah.
know, nowadays it's like, "Oh, well, got peanut butter on my chocolate. I'm going to divorce you." Um, these things they happen. Um, the current what's the current divorce rate in the U.S.?
Why?
A, a a few decades ago, it was 1 in 3 got divorced. Then it was 1 in 3 didn't get divorced, and
Yeah, for a while
now I
there, it
don't
was
know what it
holding
is.
steady at 50.
Hmm.
Mm,
Mm.
And
Well,
it's funny how some of the people who divorce go back and remarry the person that they divorced.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
well, in lots of cases, it's can't live with them, can't live without them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one friend that I had went back to her husband, and I was like, why? Because he was abusive.
No,
Mm-hmm.
that
And
About
that's
44.2%.
mm-hmm.
she's like, you're out there dating, you know what it's like out there. I can't take that. I'm going back to him. I'm like, Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Dating's hard, and especially if you've been out of it for a while.
Yep,
But
it sucks.
okay. Then I had another friend who had was married. When they got married, they both said they didn't want children. As it went along, she decided she wanted children. He didn't want children. So they split up.
Fair enough.
And about two years after the divorce was final, he comes back and says, I can't live without you. If you want children, we'll have children. But I need you back in my life, even if it means that we have to have children. Please marry me again. And they got remarried.
Oh,
That
oh,
was not poetic at all.
Yeah.
no, no,
No.
don't do that.
No, but it
Good
was
Lord.
brutally honest.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, brutally being the operative term. Yeah.
like,
Um,
if you don't want children as a dude, like, how are you expected to be a dad? A father is one thing, a dad is a whole other thing.
oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dad to children that I was never invited to the conception thereof. Lots of them.
Did you ever
And
watch?
My wife
I'm
brought
doing
my
real
oldest
good
two
at
into
the
the
job.
family. The youngest is ours together.
hmm Um, it's it's quite easy to accept and love someone else's children.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
if you're married, it's for my
Step is a
attitude.
checkbox on a legal form.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
you know.
it is, and I hate that. I hate that word. They're my kids. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that I didn't even know their mother when they were born.
Mm-hmm.
It does not matter at all. I don't care. I'm doing my best to
My wife's
be a
ex
decent
husband is
human
so
being.
pissed off when my kids call me dad.
Oh,
Hmm,
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
well, they
Uh,
know who pays attention to them. You don't have to spend money on them, but you have to pay attention to them, and you have to give your time.
Yep.
That means something to them,
and you have to
especially when
care.
they're little.
You have
Yeah.
to
Mm-hmm.
care, and you have to honestly care. You can't fake it because they know.
Yeah, they know.
Exactly.
Well, you can be honest, you can be fair, you can love them with all your heart, but you still have to deal with other outside influences.
Mhm.
I adored my stepdaughter. She kept being told by my mother-in-law, not her mother, that her dad couldn't spend time with him because now he had to spend time with me. It was my fault that he wasn't seeing her.
Oh my God.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
That's manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And my mother in law would go and get her for like a week or
Mm.
so. And Carl's ex wife thought that we were seeing her as part of the visitation. And we weren't. We didn't even know she was there.
Oh wow.
So we didn't get a visitation that month.
Because grandma stole it.
Hmm.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah. And told her that daddy doesn't want to see you. He's busy with Donna. Like,
That's a
whoa.
load of horse crap.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But
And this is
ex-
why.
the dynamics of an extended family are, in some cases, maddening, and in some cases, absolutely wonderful. It just depends on how things ultimately work out and how perceptive the child is as to when they're being told bullshit and when they get to see the real deal for themselves.
Yeah.
Well,
And
she won't
their
come around
emotional
to see the real
maturity
deal.
as to
So
when they can accept the real deal when it comes along.
yeah,
Um, it's it's it's
this
never
yeah.
it's never easy. It's never easy. But
This is why my sister-in-law gave us a little urn about that big, with some of her ashes in them. And at first we were a little appalled. But there's a little pocket in the side door of the car that the urn lays in. And
Hurt, hurt.
every time Carl goes around a corner, it rattles. And he grins. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's easy to love children no matter um, what your connection with them is.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it is much more difficult to show the same affection to um, their biological parents or grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I have been really lucky that um, Lindsay's oldest daughter, her biological father, and I are good friends. And
Mm-hmm.
Lindsay still loves him just as much as she ever did. They got divorced because of a church
Uh,
who objected to something. I don't know what, but they split
Mm-hmm.
up, and neither one of them liked it.
mhm.
And then uh, events eventuated eventually, and she married again, and that was not 100% successful, but two more children. And then the third time, uh, that was this is the guy that I'm really pissed at because not only did he steal her retirement money, he maxed out their joint credit card and left her with a debt and ran off, and the cops cannot even find him
Mhm.
when she had to file for divorce from him so that she and I could get married. There were cops in 3 states looking for him to serve the divorce papers.
Wow.
Not only
Mhm.
here where he'd never been, but there where he was supposed to be living, and a third state where it was strongly suspected that he went to so that he could engage in, um, well, to put it politely, smuggling um, vegetables of a
Mm.
suspect um, sort of
Mm-hmm.
origin, and the cops are going, if he's doing that back and forth across the national border like that, it's not going to be long before somebody gets upset enough with him to where he winds up on unsolved mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So I'm going, couldn't happen to a nicer guy, I
Yeah.
can respect her second husband and for being the father of her youngest 2 kids. I can greatly respect her first husband for being the father of her first daughter, and I'm going, hey, 2 and 3 were not ideal human beings, but I'm hoping I'm trying to make up for that, and the
Yeah.
kids seem to appreciate it, and
Mm-hmm.
I may not be their daddy, but I am their papa,
Yeah. Well,
and
being
that's
adopted, my parents picked me up at the hospital when I was 6 days old. I have never known blood relations.
Mm.
And so, I mean, this was like a splash of cold water in the face to see this, to find out that this is happening. It's like, blood is not that important.
No.
there's no such in my family. There's no such thing as step. There's no such thing as half.
Mm.
No, it's family.
Yeah, my biggest regret is I can't get my mom to acknowledge my children by marriage.
Mm.
She desperately wanted me to have a biological child, a
Mm-hmm.
grandchild for her, and that didn't happen. Although in 3 occasions it came really, really close, but um, it was not to be.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's like I told my mother. I said, I'm not having any. I'm gonna make you a grandma. If I do, I'm gonna do it the easy way. Not quite at the 5 and 9 like you got me, but I'm not having any. And then
Mm.
after I met Carl, we took his daughter over. I said, "Remember, I told you I was going to do make your grandma the easy way. Here she is, 5 years old. I didn't have to fool with bottles or dirty diapers or anything. And that was great.
mm,
But
My
when
pop's
when I
bio dad was oh sorry.
go ahead, your bio dad.
No, my dad's the only dad I've ever had. Um, but my pop's bio dad abandoned the family when my dad was really young. It's um, the first real big memory he had of his bio dad was his bio dad coming over with a car full of presents that weren't for my dad and his siblings, but for his new kids, screaming
Mm,
at my grandmother about child support.
yeah,
So
Wow.
so
mm,
I never knew his bio father. Never really wanted to know his.
it sounds like you
I
didn't miss
wanted to know.
anything.
No.
I wanted to know where I came from biologically,
Mhm,
but I didn't want to know the man.
Yeah.
mhm, yeah.
Um, my dad's the man my dad refers to as his dad, the only grandfather I've ever known from my dad's side, Grandpa Charlie. Um, you know, uh, adopted. Well, I don't know if he really even adopted my dad. It's you know, it's my dad never used the word step when talking about Grandpa Charlie.
Mhm,
He would either say Charlie or Dad,
mhm.
and it's one of the greatest men I ever had a chance to know. Unfortunately, we lost him before I was 5, but um, so my dad has had that really strongly ingrained that you use step when you have to define something legally or
Yeah.
medically.
Mhm.
mhm,
Um, and then with my wife, it's like I said, she brought my oldest two in, um, and it's her ex-husband is the father of our middle child. He adopted my son, um, but it's uh, I was nice to Gary because my middle child adored him. I'm like I. You ever see the movie Law Abiding Citizen
Mhm.
No.
no, but
with Gerard
let
Butler?
it
Really
won't
good
keep me
movie.
from understanding the metaphor.
I wanted to be the budget trailer park version of Law Abiding Citizen when it came to Gary. Um, just Law Abiding Citizen. In the very beginning, the main character's wife and daughter are raped and murdered.
Hmm.
And then years later, he, being a government operative type individual, finds and then tortures the man who did it.
Mm-hmm.
But he also wanted to go further and punish the judicial system who let the man go free.
Mm-hmm.
I, I would
It's understandable.
so love to do that because of the way he mentally and physically abused my wife, my son, and my middle child. It took years for them to finally admit and understand that yes, this really did happen. Um, thankfully he's in prison. We don't have to worry about him till 2043 now, because in 2015, and I'm really sorry that it had to happen, but I'm glad they finally fucking caught him because I don't know how many of the little kids he did it to. He did stuff he shouldn't have to an 8-year-old at a park. And I love it. It's his niece was married to a county cop, and the people were giving a description of the individual, and the nephew-in-law or whatever immediately went, I know exactly who the fuck that is, and went and arrested him.
Good.
So
Good.
it's now that she finally admits what he's done and understands that he really did do that shit. I see the man on the street, after he goes free, I'm probably going to go to jail for beating an old man.
You may not have to worry about those because those people don't do well in prisons.
Not only
he gets
that,
put in solitary a lot because of what he did.
Yep.
So that he will actually make his date.
whenever he gets out, he is going to be excommunicated literally everywhere. He's not going to be able to get a job. He's just going to be a hobo in the streets at that point.
Yeah, when he gets out, let's see, I'll be 70 when he gets out, so he'll be 80 when he gets out.
You can take him.
I can take him in an unfair fight stacked in his advantage. But then again, I was raised, fair fight means I get to walk away from it. You might not. I do.
You'd be amazed at how often that shows up in the heroes that I write. Hey, the only fair fight is the one I've got stacked in my favor.
Exactly.
Well, luckily I fence, so even the days that I'm on a cane and whatever, that cane is a sword-shaped object. One of the best things that I feel you can teach a young child for self-defense is very, very basic sword play because it can be done with a stick, a branch, an umbrella. I'm a very cynical man. In today's day and age, someone dragging a kid kicking and screaming out of a park, most kids are going to be like, oh, it's an entitled brat. They don't want to go home. Okay. Now change that to a little kid flailing, beating the ever-loving fuck out of somebody with an umbrella. At the very least, people are going to pull out their phones, record that, and put it on YouTube later. So at least I'll have a video of someone trying to kidnap my kid.
Yep.
But then again, my kid has had longer reach than Nick since she was 6. Sorry, since they were 6. They are 14 now. There's actually a video on Nick's channel that we have titled PSA Reach and You, which is a recording of my youngest actually having about 2 inches worth of reach on Nick with the same length of blade.
Nice. Well, what got me was because nobody brought up children when I was single, but as soon as everybody heard I was getting married, it's when are you gonna have children? When I announced at work that I was getting married, my boss's wife who was pregnant with their third child because her sister was pregnant with her second child. Yeah. Uh, didn't even say congratulations. She said, "Oh, good, now you'll be able to have children and be a whole woman." And
No.
I looked at her and went, "Teresa, I ain't missing no parts."
What the hell?
Yeah.
Yep.
Or you get the thing that because I don't want my own children, for some reason I hate children. No, that's not true. I love my
No.
nieces and nephews. Even the ones that aren't family nieces and nephews. I love them. I just don't want any of my own.
I'm exactly the same.
And then you get that argument, but it's different when it's your own.
No, it isn't.
And I'm like, oh, is that why I call family services about once a week on the woman next door because she's beating her own kid so much?
Mm-hmm. So what's the difference in that?
Mm-hmm. I
Mm.
mean, my own father was physically abused by his father. So no, it doesn't make a difference if it's your own.
No.
It makes a difference as to whether you're a good person or not.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Exactly.
if anything, it makes it easier, which is scary.
Yeah, that's true.
I've made it perfectly plain to mine that I'm not ever going to try and take their father's place. I want to earn my own place.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And if they're okay with that, then everything works. And so far, all of them,
Hmm?
all of them, except that in the spirit that it was offered, and I've been earning my own place.
Yeah. Well, and some people will tell a kid when they've met this new person, go give him a hug. Go get.
No,
No, no.
just get
That makes
used to
them
them.
even more scared of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my mother-in-law did with my stepdaughter. I did, I'd walked in the house. This is going to be your new stepmother. Go hug her and tell her how much you love her. And I'm like, she just
No.
met me. She doesn't know if she loves me or not.
Mm.
No.
And some people think I'm standoffish, but I'm like, the child. It's like a cat. The child's got to come to you.
Yeah.
Don't
My
push.
nephew was is scared of me. Like my sister now has two kids. Her nephew is starting to understand. Okay, the red haired tall guy with the scary beard is actually not that scary. On the other hand, my niece, who is their youngest, barely a year old, runs up to me, gives me a hug, and starts playing with me.
Mhm.
And I'm everything for some reason. I'm there once a year, like twice a year at their birthdays. And like, yeah, no, like
Yeah.
I
Between
love
my
being a crazy uncle, but like
yeah,
it's up to them to reach out. Like I'm there
exactly.
if
Yeah.
they want to.
Between my two brothers, I have 7 nieces and nephews. They're so much older than I am. There's only 8 years between me and my oldest niece.
Hmm.
I was still expected to do babysitting, which my mom says, okay, she can, but you are paying her.
Hmm.
She's not at your beck and call. Well, when you're that close to the kids, you got to have an angle.
Mm-hmm.
And I never touched my kids, never touched my kids. But I've got a 6'3" nephew who still thinks that if he doesn't behave when he's around me, I'm going to swing on him. He asked me, I used to wear rings on every finger, and he asked me one time, why do you wear so many rings, Aunt Donna? And I'm like, did the fist, and I said, they make such lovely indentations when they meet with somebody's flesh.
Done.
Okay.
I've always
Behavior
been
is
Uncle
so
Jungle
easy
Jim.
to influence. Oh yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I've been Uncle Mike for so many people, it's not even funny anymore. I'm playing dad for someone 20 years older than me right now. It's scary.
Mm-hmm. Well, look at me. Look how many people I'm at Donna to now, thanks to Facebook.
Misty's and
That's
my
okay.
first date ended up being the day before our actual first date was supposed to be. My brother-in-law, it's I was playing Dungeons and Dragons. My best friend drugged me into that group. We drug a friend of ours who was a paramedic into that group. He drug his partner from the rigs into the group, who is now my brother-in-law, who drug his wife, who drugged her sister. And I was surprised to death, damn near, when Dusty, Misty's little sister, actually was all for us getting together. I thought Dusty fucking hated me, because the only time she ever really had any communication with me, I was in character, and my character was an asshole.
Obviously,
I ended up with.
Obviously, this is a case of the family that slays together stays together.
But I tried to sell her character 3 or 4 times in game. She played a bard, so I ended up with a half level of pimp unofficially. So I just thought she fucking hated me, because I just like, I'm not going to chat up another guy's wife, especially if they're a friend and we're in gaming and stuff like that. I thought she fucking hated me. And then come to find out that, when Misty's talking to her about, me, and she's like, oh yeah, you two would make a great couple and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, really? Dusty? All right. But the day before our actual first date was supposed to happen was my brother-in-law's birthday. The man who is now my brother-in-law's birthday. So I ended up getting invited to their house for spaghetti to celebrate that and stuff like that. So I'm in the house 5 minutes, and my middle child and the 2 oldest, well, the only 2 that they had at the time, of my brother-in-law and sister-in-law's kids, immediately just started using me as a jungle gym. And everyone's like, my God, we're so sorry, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm used to it. And, this has been my role since I had nieces and nephews in my life. And it's just like, whatever, as long as they don't sit on my head for too long, and especially the one in the diaper, we're all good,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep.
But,
and
so
there's always a stereotype. You're walking around in the grocery store and somebody comes up and goes, I notice you're tall. Could you reach that down from the shelf for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Carl gets that a lot.
Get that?
Mm.
I get that in the house because Misty is only 5'1" and change. 5'1 and a quarter, because when she's a shorter, she is that quarter matters.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter to me, but it matters to her, so it matters to me.
Oh yes.
Oh God! Here comes Joe Dog to find out whether or not I'm asleep yet.
Uh-oh. Hey, Mom.
Howdy,
Hey,
howdy.
Joe.
Yeah, that's actually what I actually did.
Has Dan nodded off yet? No, I've got people to talk to.
Well, hey, at least the last time you ended the show, but forgot
to leave the studio. Yeah.
No, you ran. No, you didn't forget to leave the studio. You ended the show, turned around in the chair, and fell asleep.
Without ending the show.
And he was off air, but he was in the chair.
Yeah, well, I'm boring, so.
That's all right, Dan. You and me still hold the record for the longest last man standing.
Oh, 6 hours and something, wasn't
it?
Holy crow.
Yeah, well, you get me and Chris together and we start talking about music. It could go on for days.
Yeah, it could take a while.
It
I
goes
just,
places.
I checked you on YouTube and saw that you were still on, and I've not actually talked to Mike Jimmy, so I jumped in here to say hi to Mike Jimmy.
Well, hope you're good, man.
And I don't know who the crazy uncle is. That's a face that's new to me.
Oh, Rich is a
Rich
very
Asplin
nice
Jr.
guy.
Oh, okay. Well, nice to meet you, sir. Hi, Donna.
Hi, Joe.
She knows you. It's no good buttering her up. It's not going to work.
Am I getting more moonshine this year?
That's questionable because I have to taste test before I allow it to go out, and I'm not allowed to have any more.
Ooh.
Yeah, Joe Dog could die if he starts drinking
We
again.
don't want that. We don't want
No.
that.
Yeah.
Nope,
Joe Dog
definitely not.
may die when he find out the Smoky Mountain's got a new flavored limoncello, which I'm going to get a jar of here any day.
Be sure to get the peach. I hear it's wonderful.
Oh God, no! That didn't even interest me when I looked at their thing. I'm like, no,
Blackberry. Go with the blackberry.
Oh, the blackberry's wonderful. Yeah, but that
Oh,
white chocolate covered strawberry cream. Oh my gods.
that's addictive, isn't it?
Yeah, what really stinks is I was wanting to make my apple cider.
Mm. Apple
I
cider.
got my attention.
You know who I
Well,
wish we could get?
This
What?
is close. Apple pie.
Mm-hmm.
What's the proof on that?
I think it's 40.
40.
No, 70. I was looking at the wrong thing. 70
Now,
proof.
now, just remember the stuff I gave you was up around 160.
And I still didn't fall on my ass, did I?
You saw how Rob was sort of impressed. It's like, yeah, you better take a bow because
I had a nice buzz going though.
well, I know this much. Next time, if I do make you another batch and you come strutting across there, I'm going to have you take a bow.
It was vitamin D.
Oh, Joe Dog, I can see it in your grin. You're gonna have her take a bow, hoping she'll fall over when she dips down.
If I'm sober, I would fall over taking a bow.
Well,
No,
Donna,
I
it was
just,
a combination of impressed and shocked for me.
yeah. Well, I just want, I was checking my last YouTube thing and saw that y'all saw the notification for the show, so I jumped in. I'm tapping out, guys. Really. Oh, maybe I can wake up in the morning and my arm actually work.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Been there, done that.
Yep.
All right, y'all have a good one. It's nice to meet you, Jimmy. Now, is it Mike or Jimmy or?
Whatever people want it to be. Like any combination works.
Okay. How about we'll see you later, dude.
Take it easy, man. Sleep well.
Good night, y'all.
See you, Joe.
Think about it.
Oh, I forgot. I'm not used to being on this end. Yes, I want to leave. Why didn't you ask me that when I did it earlier tonight? Oh, bye.
Bye. No, Chris,
Now you see what I
you
gotta put
gotta-
up with.
what you got to know is when I was single, my go-to drinks were kamikazes and tequila sunrises.
Yeah.
I drink Fireball straight. And he thought he was going to get me on his little moonshine.
Mm.
And he called me out in front of all those people. And then I knew I was not going to fall down on that challenge.
As one of my coworkers likes to say, challenge.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah,
Yes.
what amazes me is on Sunday night, me and Chris and Joe Dog, nobody else around, polished off another mason jar, as well as the Statesman, and we needed a wheelbarrow to get Joe Dog to his hotel room.
We'll be
Oh,
there
I had
this
to
Sunday.
basically carry him twice.
Yeah, he kept coming back. I don't know. I don't know how. I really don't know how. But Chris and I were able to walk to our own rooms.
Well, you were there, Dan, on Saturday morning when I handed him back that empty jar. And the look on his
Yes.
face. He didn't
Mm,
know whether to be mad or just disappointed.
uh, yeah. Well, somewhere in the middle, somewhere between Amazing Grace and Raising Hill. Yeah. Uh,
Well, he was always going on about what he was going to get when he won this challenge. And I asked him, okay, looks like I won the challenge. What do I get? And I never got an answer.
it turns out to be bragging rights.
Evidently. And hey, I'm a Viking. We live for braggings.
Cheers. Next week, like this week, I'm gonna go to a fantasy festival that I've been going to for the last 15 years. I'm gonna drink. There is literally a cane ready to go right there because my legs give out thanks to epilepsy. I don't care. I'm gonna be able to sit around most of the day because I'm gonna be at the writer's market anyway. But God forbid I don't get my mead and I don't get my Magners cider.
Mm.
Now, according to the genealogy reports that I got, um, somewhere in there,
Oh man.
I am officially a Turkish Viking.
Ah!
Yeah, I mean, from the far east of the Mediterranean, all around the coast, back up the other side, up into your neck of the woods. Yep.
Oh, then.
Yeah.
I was
Somewhere about
yeah.
4 BC. No. Yeah, 4 AD. Excuse me. Um, there was a Viking chieftain named Woden who is distantly related to my mother.
Very distantly, there's quite a few
Mm-hmm.
relations in
Well, I
there.
mean, hey, Lord only knows. She's definitely a supernatural power herself. So. Um, uh, I don't know if she's got a shield somewhere laying around and one of the little brass braziers or whatever. But I could see Mom on a flying horse.
Mm-hmm.
I could see mine too, but not because she's a Viking.
Well, I do not like the cold. I
Neither.
I
I
do
mean,
not. I don't like the snow.
there is nothing on these arms to keep the cold out.
Well, there's plenty on me, but trust me, large freezes. I was all ready to transfer with my the florist company down to Tampa, Florida, and then damned Illinois state employee screwed that up. That when people found out I was Viking, they're like, how can you be a Viking? You don't like the cold, and I'm like, some Vikings did go down to the Mediterranean, and I'm pretty sure that's probably where
Mm-hmm.
mine come from. Well, come
Viking
to
to
find
go,
out,
let's get the fuck out of here. It's too cold.
yeah,
Yes. The line is, we come from the land of ice and snow.
right.
It doesn't mean we wanted to go back.
Rape,
But
pillage, and
then, yeah,
burn. They wanted the bonfire.
then I
Mm-hmm.
did the DNA thing, and 11% Italian. So
That'll
yeah,
do the trick.
My Viking people definitely went to the Mediterranean because it was too fucking cold up in.
Okay, now I'm trying to imagine a Viking pizza. I
And
don't I
Vegetarian
Shelby.
don't
instead of
think
anchovies.
I
Oh,
don't think it
Yeah,
had
like
I don't think it had herrings involved. You know.
maybe anchovies, tuna, onions.
Mm,
mm,
I mean, there's
My
German
pop's bio,
Flammkuchen. It's fine.
yeah.
my pop's bio dad was from Stockholm, born 1910. Merchant Marine type stuff. So I'm like, technically he's a Viking. Um, you
Technically.
know, getting laid in every port. It sounds like a very Viking thing to me. Um,
Hmm. We are that
my
way.
pops is from my pops is from northern Wisconsin. Um, and yeah, my sisters used to lock me outside in the middle of the winter in nothing but a swimsuit. And back in the 70s, all little kids' swimsuits were basically Speedos.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I'm genetically predisposed to enjoy the cold. Um, my wife will get mad at me because in 20-degree weather, I'll be outside, no shoes, short sleeve shirt, and it's like what? Um, my youngest will do the same thing. My sister-in-law yelled at her because she's like, "Put your coat on!" Going from the car to the house in 20-degree weather, and I'm like thinking, really? 15
Not that
feet.
far. Yeah.
yeah, but by
That's
the time you got your
that
coat
doesn't
on,
need a
you're
coat.
opening the door.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Um, fun. Um,
Oh Lord, yes.
there's wow, something
I
else I was
will
going on with that.
admit I do not like being cold, but there have been times when I was out planting wheat during a snowstorm on the farm, and then at the factory, um, it's either too damn hot or too damn cold, and you've got to figure out how to dress for the occasion. To loosely quote Eric Roberts from the Doctor Who movie, um, if you don't know to put on something warm, and in my case, it's insulated coveralls. Uh, you're not going to last very long, and
Hmm.
there's only so many heaters, and you still got the job to do. So half the time, you're stripping off the insulated coveralls down to at least your waist, so you can evaporate some of the sweat you worked up doing the work.
Hmm.
And if you're not working, why are
It
we
gets cold
there?
real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, my first fiance could not believe it. If I've got my arms covered, I'm fine. But we lived on Route One, which meant we had a mailbox that was across the street. And he was visiting one day, and I threw on a coat and went out barefoot. And I think the snow was about 10 inches deep. And I had to go out the back door, around the house, across the road, and back to bring the mail in. And he could not believe that I did that. My arms were covered. I was warm. Mostly it's been
My
since the accident. That the cold gets to me.
Mm.
my feet
Now
have
and
to be
then,
warm.
yeah.
If my feet aren't warm, I'm screwed.
Yeah, there was a time when a motorcycle was the only automobile I had. So I would have to ride to work um, all year round until I was able to afford a four-wheel vehicle with a heater. Um, now, I will say, to my benefit, I had a full face helmet, and I invented something I called a chin shield, which was a very soft plastic thing that would hang down to just where the leather jacket would normally seal up as high as it went to the collar line. And oh, Chris, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone. Internet acting up again, trying to get back on, but if I can't, you know why. Well,
Understood, Chris.
yep.
It happens,
Uh,
man. It happens.
and we've only got 13 minutes left, so you know. But I would be going back and forth to work on a motorcycle in December in Georgia, and which might sound mild to people that live up north, but we do get the jet stream going down here, bringing some of that Arctic air that is not fun for anybody.
Hmm.
And you know, one of the side benefits was that I learned how to balance a 12-pack of beer on the gas tank in between my knees as I was going down the road without risking a serious road hazard by the damn thing falling off and busting open. And I actually got to the point where if I had to stop for a stoplight, full face helmet had to come up because it would get fogged up
Yep.
from my
Mm-hmm.
warm breath. And then as soon as the light turned green, snap, like a welder's helmet. Didn't even have to reach up, just shake
Yeah.
your head
Yep.
and pop, down it comes, and whoom.
Before I got married, I had a motorcycle, and when I first got it, I thought, "Oh, I'm going to go show it to my best friend." She and her husband lived in a little town about 30 minutes away from me, owned a garage up there. And when I started out in Danville, beautiful day, and I had a dark shield over the on my helmet instead of trying to wear sunglasses underneath. And as I'm going up 49, I get just south of the town they live in, and it cuts loose and drenches me.
Uh-huh.
And it's still raining as I pull into town, and I'm going, please let the garage door be, the back door, bay doors be open. And they were, and I pulled in, and my friend comes back, and I had cut my hair real short. And like I said, I had the dark thing over. She didn't even know
Oh,
I had the bike, and she comes in and she's like, "Did you get wet out there, honey?" And I took my helmet off, and she says, "Oh God, you're gonna kill me now." Damn straight. And since we weren't of a size, I had to wear damp clothes. And by the time I got home, every time I went by a ditch with water in it, that cold air would come off. And that 30-minute drive was so long.
yep. Once you're soaked through and it's cold out there, um, wind chill becomes a very, very real thing
Mm-hmm.
because
Yep.
it might only be 20, 30 degrees Fahrenheit, but at 60 miles an hour, it ain't nowhere near that warm anymore.
Well, this was in the summer, and it still felt like it was only 20 or 30 when I passed one of those water pools of water. It's like, whoa.
Mm. Hey, it worked. Chris is back.
Yeah, there he
Hey,
goes.
welcome back.
Yeah, I knew when the sound and video from y'all were flagging, it was only a matter of time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's usually where it goes
Well,
wrong.
yep.
It
And
would
Bill has
help a
Bill
little
has the
bit
same
when I
problem.
stopped the camera
Mm.
and I hear y'all, but as soon as I went back on screen, it started doing it again, and finally it
Yeah.
just boom.
time to reboot and
Well, it's cool that
try
you had a
again.
motorcycle, Donna.
Not what my husband thought.
Mm.
At that time, he was a counselor instead of an IT for the state of Illinois, and I used to go places with him when he went. He went to a conference or one of the offices or something, and he had to go to this hospital up in Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
and he says, "Come along." I was like, "Okay." See that fellow over there with the halo? Motorcycle accident. See that one with the halo? Motorcycle accident. And I'm like, give me a break. I did sell the bike not long after we got together, but it's because I needed the money.
Mm.
But I had bought the bike for $1,000. Never, yeah, never insured it. Never got my license for it. Just rode it and rode it for a year, and then kind of got strapped for money, and I sold it for $1,000. So
Neat.
I liked it.
Broke even.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually still got mine out in the backyard. It's been parked for 16 years now. I do not believe that I could afford to have it rebuilt enough to ever crank again.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Lindsay has told me if you want to buy one of those three-wheel Can-Am things, yeah, you can ride it again. But
Mm-hmm.
you're not ever going back on a two-wheeler because people driving in cars are out to kill you. So, I want to keep my husband for as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
having a motorcycle or riding a motorcycle regularly is a good way for me to become a widow. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
and
Yep.
she's
That's
got a point. She's got a point.
Yeah.
I've had all kinds of uh, negligent drivers cause accidents that I could have avoided if I had been in something with four wheels, but with two wheels, you
Mm-hmm.
kind of limited as to your braking ability, and um, then again, um, it's the closest thing that you can get to being a jet fighter pilot
Yeah.
on a road. I mean, the balance is the same, the reflexes are the same.
mm-hmm.
You're just rocket
Mm-hmm.
88 down the road. Um, It doesn't matter whether you stick within the speed limits or not. You've still got this, I can lean slightly and make a curve, or I can
Mm-hmm.
actually turn the wheel and make a curve that's
Mm-hmm.
steeper. But then again, I went through the Smoky Mountains and there's this corkscrew turn, and I'm going,
Oof.
Aye! And I wound up stomping my foot against the ground to keep the bike from falling over as I was trying to work down through the gears to. This was before Lindsay and I met, so
Mm-hmm.
um, it's one of those things. It's an awful lot of fun. It's an awful lot of fun, but to be honest, um, it does give you more than a few opportunities to have an accident because you are momentarily inattentive.
mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've got
Or
to be you've got to
yeah.
be paranoid every second. Um,
Um, that day that I went up to see my friend, I had to go on the interstate, and as I went off the slip to go up the road, I just happened to look to my left, and a semi passed me by so close that I could have reached out and touched that motherfucker. I'm
hmm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, excuse
Wow.
me.
It's all right. It's after midnight. We can get away
Yeah.
with a couple.
And it's
Yeah.
like, really? I mean, I was in front of him. It's not like that. Yeah, he was just that close.
Yeah. No, they do not care for motorcycles. It is scary.
hmm
And even here, like, yeah, motorcycles are a little more protected. Like, you're more insured as a motorcyclist.
Hmm.
And the motorcyclists are just playing on the road, and it's just awful.
Let's
Like,
let's face
Mhm.
let's face it. If you're on a motorcycle and you have the same kind of accident you would have in a car or a truck,
hmm
you
you
have
die.
you have less than
Mhm.
a 30% chance of staying alive.
hmm
And
The best.
that's surviving it. I used to go from Athens 90 miles to Atlanta and get on Highway 285, which is one of the most dangerous roads
Mhm.
I know of, and I refuse to drive that in a car today.
hmm
And I was having fun, but I realized from the get-go, everybody on the road is going to ignore my presence.
Yep.
It's up to me to drive defensively, and I mean paranoid defensively, in order to keep from being involved in an accident.
Oh
The
yeah.
safest way to be on a motorcycle is if you're doing a ride with a bunch of other cyclists and you're there in a group,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
so you're more visible. You got people watching your back, and it's a whole lot better experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Had to deal with
Ex-
that today. Uh,
oh,
uh, Emergency vehicle came flying through, and I'm like, shit, there's an accident. No. Um, a 10-minute column of bikes,
Oh.
and I really had to pee. It's like, you
Ah.
motherfuckers, you chose now. Um,
Yeah.
but they finally got past, and I was able to get to the gas station and go. So,
never a Circle
it's like the
K when
gas
you need
station's right
one.
there, and it's like,
hmm
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations on making it.
Mhm.
oh yeah,
Oh, there was one time when I was trying to get home from um, somewhere north of Atlanta. I don't know exactly where I went. And I was on 285 trying to come back, and I missed my turn at Spaghetti Junction.
Ooh.
Yep. So I geared down real quick and got into the stripy line bit in between the lanes and
Hmm.
looked around and looked around and looked around. Finally, when it was safe, I went off um, and got on my exit. But it was one of those cases where if I'd been driving a car and tried to do that, I'd have got arrested.
Mhm.
hmm
Yep.
And Spaghetti Junction is one of those places where if you're not paranoid, you're going to die. I don't care what you driving. It could be 18 wheeler, could be a four wheeler, could be a two wheeler, it could be a jetpack. It don't matter. If you don't pay attention and be totally paranoid and aware of everything around you, you stand a fair chance of being handed a harp and a set of wings. And somehow or another, I made it through, and you know, I I didn't ride long distances very much after that. I'm
Mhm.
going, hey, this is something that I had done time and time again in a car, and I still missed the turn. I knew where it was. I was just so busy looking around me, looking for hazards that I didn't see the actual exit. So I had to pretty much park and regroup. And that scared the crap out of me because if I hadn't done that, I'd I'd probably have to go around Atlanta until I came back and and figured out how to make the exit. And that's 2 hours right there. No, last
I
time I took
shared
a
an
trip.
image.
Yeah. Wow. The
That
Dutch infrastructure cries right now.
that
That
is Spaghetti Junction.
Yep.
that
Did
makes
they
absolutely no
design
sense
part
to
of
me.
that after the Eye of Horus?
Yeah,
I
I,
think so.
I don't think they
Looks like
even had
upside
that
That
down
much
and,
in.
and flipped around.
that
Hmm.
that
is
is the I-85 I-285 interchange, also known as the Tom Moreland interchange and Spaghetti
Hmm.
Junction.
wow. That is
Looks like a Tex
Yep.
Avery cartoon.
All right. Over on the lower right hand side, that was where I screwed up. And you see where those lanes have a little blue mark in between where they split. That was where I stopped and had to regroup and wait for traffic so I could get back over on the the one lane that loops around and goes to the bottom of the screen.
wow.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
and that well, that'll put a spot on the front seat unless
Wait a
it's the only
second.
seat you got. And
Holy
then,
crap.
yep, and we're talking about normal traffic conditions. There is 70 miles an hour in a 45 zone.
Yeah. Again, Dutch infrastructure is crying at that.
Oh
Oh,
no, that's the good improvement. You should have seen it before they fixed it.
oh my god. Oh my god.
I'm telling you.
We
Uh,
have creative road designers over here.
I,
oh,
it,
I
We
don't
have
think we even
drunken
have designers.
infrastructure
They
designers.
just get a map and they dip a handful of worms and ink and throw them at the paper and that's the way they build the road.
They get a
Uh,
5-year-old, fill them with caffeine, crack, and candy, and give them an etch a sketch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
literally, this is why most bigger projects are being managed by Dutch people in the United States.
I
I
wish.
believe that.
Legit. Like, if you look worldwide, you're going to see a
Dutch,
Dutch
German,
manager
Japanese.
Oops, there goes
or a
Chris again.
Japanese. That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, no, you got the Dutch manager, taking care of making everything work, and then you got the Japanese assistant making sure that everything gets done in time. It is
And the
wow.
and the Korean engineers who don't
Yes.
know who don't know how to use a pencil
No.
Well, it's like
because
in
that's
Nashville.
advanced technology.
Nashville, the road that the bypass that goes around, 99% of the roads leading out of town slip off to the right.
Hmm.
If you're coming back north and you want to get on the Pennyrile, it slips off to the left. Oh fuck, we need to go that way.
Oh,
Mm.
and that is one of the reasons
Coming
why
back from Florida.
it's
I,
one of the
I, I
reasons
noticed what
why
you're talking about.
I do not like 285 because you'll have somebody in a Corvette or a Maserati or some evidence they have no dick, and
Mhm.
they're in the ultimate fast lane at 85 miles an hour in a 45-mile-an-hour zone, and all of a sudden they realize they've got an exit.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And they cut across 6 lanes of
Mhm.
traffic without a turn signal.
Mhm.
Now, I have astounded my wife more than one time going, you see that guy in the blue car over there on the left? He's about to do something really stupid. Let me slow down just a little bit here. And all of a sudden, whoop,
Yep.
she thinks I'm
So
psychic. It's situational awareness and pattern recognition on
It's
my
pattern
part.
recognition.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Well, it used to be the only way to go directly to Florida was to go across Chattanooga and then Atlanta and down.
Mm-hmm.
My folks got a place down in Florida, and then went that way. I went that way by myself one time and made it through. There was that one little town in Georgia that had no street signs that got me off the track. But
Hmm.
then they discovered if you go out of Nashville, it's a lot easier to go down Alabama, down through Alabama,
Yep,
and then across.
Yeah.
and then take a lift. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially since they were going to Homosassa Springs, which is on the Gulf side, it was less driving. And you got to miss Atlanta.
What you got there, Mike?
So this is Amsterdam to my town, and keep in mind, I am literally just one canal away from being in part of Amsterdam. So you have the tunnel here. Then you got northern Amsterdam, which loops around like this. And then you have 6 lanes turning into 4, of which the 2 left ones go further along into my town, and 2 going off into another direction, turning into a different highway. Anyone coming from this tunnel right here has to go around, get on the 6th lane, go all the way to the right, and every single time, this entire part is just like every single day, that is completely blocked off because people do not know how to zip together. It is
Yes.
like this is literally the only part in the Netherlands where people go, "This is stupid. Why did we make this?" And I live 15 minutes away from it.
Wow.
And this is Amsterdam?
This is Amsterdam to Zaandam. So Amsterdam to
Okay.
my place.
I believe Amsterdam is where we'll be flying into and out of when we go to our cruise in down the Rhine.
Oh, hit me up when you're at the airport because I am literally 30 minutes away by train. I don't know
Well,
how long you're going to be there, but if you want to hang out and just, have
it,
lunch or something.
we'll have to see what happens. It's going to be probably 5 or 6 years,
Mm.
Hmm.
but it's a complete package. The air flight in, the transportation to the
Yeah.
ship,
Mm-hmm.
Depends on the scheduling that gets booked for you.
and of course
Yeah.
we're going on Viking Cruise Line.
I've got to tell you, Viking Cruise
Yes.
Line does not include raiding and pillaging.
Oh yeah, I know.
That costs
Donna can
extra.
speak for yourself, Dan.
Hey,
One of the reasons, okay, I picked Viking because, yeah, of the name. But we've been doing our research. No children, older
That's useful.
people. So, I know I'm not going to be able to take my rollator. I'm going to have to rely on my cane. But it's older people in their tour groups.
Hmm.
They're going to have places where we can sit down. They're going to have places that are easy to get into.
hmm
And when we go, one of the reasons it's going to take us another 5 years is we are going first class all the way because
Of
he's
course. Yeah,
he's
you might as
6'2",
well.
he's 6'2", and I'm fat. We're going to need room in the airplane. We want one of the cabins that has the bigger cabin with the outside port veranda on it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's nice.
I've got
Hell
to
yeah, go
say,
for it.
I think the second time that Lindsay and I went to England, the time it was for fun and not the time it was for her dad's funeral, we were on a KLA flight, Royal Dutch Airlines.
Hmm.
KLM, yeah.
KLM, thank you. And that was the best that's the best flying experience I have ever had in my life. Those
Hmm.
folks know how to treat people.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously, if it weren't for the $5 beer, Um, they could shave a few dollars off of that, but
Yeah, well, that's where they make their money. Like,
I know, I
um,
know. I
British
paid.
Airways and
Yep,
KLM
poor
are
Chris.
definitely on the top list when it comes to quality.
Yep.
I think I probably personally paid for about half of the fuel that plane used in that flight, and it wasn't because I was nervous. It was because I can have a beer. Keep
Yeah.
them coming.
Well, that's another
It's a
reason for
12-hour
Viking.
flight. I don't have to drive.
By all means, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
really.
That's
I
another
can.
thing for Viking. They don't nickel and dime you. Everything's included, including your drinks. And I'm not just talking about coffee and tea. Um,
No, and I,
you
I knew
you
I knew
don't have
ahead
to
of
dress
time.
up for you don't have to dress up for supper. You know, it's just a perfect setup. And neither one of us want to take an ocean cruise. This is the reason we're taking this river cruise, because there's going to be land on both sides that we can see.
Yeah, that's reassuring right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially since he can't swim and I have horrific swimmers here. I don't want to be out there with all that water.
Oh, and Chris is reminding me that for him it's 3:10 a.m. For me it's 2:13, and
It's only 2:13 for you. It's only 2:13 for me.
yeah, Eastern time.
You're on
Right,
Central.
No, I'm
Chris. Take it
Central.
easy.
You're Central.
Yeah,
I'm
Central's
Central
it's
time.
2:14.
Oh, 2:13 is how long we have in elapsed time of the show. Excuse me. It's it's 3:14. So yeah. Hey, too many numbers, not enough beer.
Understand, Chris. Night.
Yeah, take
Yeah,
it easy, man.
yeah, really. This has been a great show. This has been a great show, and I'm not through yet if y'all aren't.
No, I'm
So
good. I mean, it's my morning. It's 9 a.m. for me. I don't care.
hey, I'm just. Uh, it's now Sunday. I have nothing to do except go to bed on time Sunday night so that I can get up at 6 a.m. or Monday morning. So I don't care. It's like YouTube gonna ding me for having a long show.
No, no, it's not.
Hey, I'm still awake. Joe Dog hasn't had to come in and turn off the show yet because you know, um,
We got Donna to wake you up.
oh,
Mm-hmm.
that works. That definitely
It
works. She
does.
knows exactly how. She knows the voice. Um, and well, and who was the other lady? The one that actually discovered the voice that is needed to wake me up. Anna Maria. Um, um,
Yeah, I can't pronounce your last name.
uh, uh, well, I can't
Sal-
either, but
Salvadio or something like that.
something like that. Yeah, I was trying to remember the nickname she goes by. So it doesn't matter.
That's hard to pronounce too.
We found out that if I nod off, it doesn't matter if you play recordings of rocket launches or nuclear bombs going off or air raid sirens or whatever. I'm going to stay asleep. But
Mm-hmm.
if I hear a sexy woman saying, "Dan, wake up," I'm, I, my eyes go open right then.
Blink. Hello.
Yeah, I'm being paged. Oh yes,
Man.
the bar is now open. Car number 3. Uh, yes, indeed. Yeah, and I don't know how I learned this ability to sleep through
The brown
horrendous
note.
noises. Probably from Both of my grandmother's houses being very, very close to railroad tracks and trains
Mm.
going by every 10 minutes. And these are freight trains, not passenger trains, so they make a lot of noise.
Oh yeah.
But you once you learn to sleep through a freight train going by 8 feet behind you and 15 to 20 feet above you in the middle of the night,
Mm-hmm.
there's not much chance of anything else waking you up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm lucky that I can still function with the alarm clock going off in the mornings. But I ain't got to worry about that for another mm, 22 hours. So,
Yeah. My pop and I slept through a tornado once. My mom
mm.
was so mad. So
We were
mad.
so scared. How dare you sleep through this? Yeah. Oh.
Well, it's
It,
not like it was back where we lived on the farm where the tornadoes passed over the house that we lived on and didn't pass that close to where we were.
Now that reminds me of a meme I saw. It's some guy out in the Midwest, and somebody else is asking him, why do you have a mobile home sitting out in the middle of the cornfield? Farmer goes, protective coloration. It's a distraction for the tornadoes. They're going to hit the
You got
trailer. They're not
scarecrows.
going to hit the house.
You got scarecrows. You got trailers. I mean, makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Hey,
The
if it
house we
works, it
vacated
works.
about a half a mile away from a trailer park.
Mm.
Mm,
We have a little town named Ogden that every year got hit by a tornado. Every year.
hmm
Well, a few years ago, they put up one of those windmills and they haven't gotten hit by a tornado. And so we joke about the windmill being the tornado deterrent.
Yep.
See, doing something good for the climate does help.
Yeah.
Now when we have most of our milder sort of severe weather around here, everything splits around where my house is located.
Mm-hmm.
Now we had several tornadoes come through here a couple of years ago, tore up my neighbor's yard 2 driveways up, and hopped across the road and ripped the top out of a 100-year-old oak tree in the
Oof.
pasture across the street, and nothing here. I mean, you could
Mm-hmm.
hear it, but
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't a threat. Lindsay's in the bathroom in the tub with one of my motorcycle helmets on, waiting on the house to collapse, and I'm at work. They won't let me leave the factory to go home.
Wow.
And actually there was some legal action filed about that because they didn't even tell us to go to the tornado shelter in the factory.
Ooh.
Oh,
Definite oversight,
Yeah.
yeah.
and uh, that was a definite no-no. OSHA, if somebody had reported that to OSHA, there'd been some hefty fines leveled.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But in any case, nothing nothing got damaged here. But like I said, 2 driveways up, two separate swaths of destruction. Thank God it didn't. It went on either side of their house, but it was really, really close on either side of their house.
Mm-hmm.
So they lost a pavilion area, one of those is think of one of those um, parking garage sort of things with
Mm-hmm.
no sides on it,
Yeah.
and um, it had picnic tables and whatnot in there. It was something they didn't use except for stacking firewood in. Well, that got destroyed.
More firewood.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and then right next on the other side of the house is a creek, and there were lots of trees down there, but nothing fell and hit the house.
That's good.
So
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
But tornadoes around here would generally go north of Danville, which is where the farm was. And I found out later that it's a geological reason. There's like some kind of ridge or something
Mhm.
Mm.
that keeps it on the other side. The road I lived on, the farmhouse I lived in at that time was the first house on the south side of the road. And exploring our pastures, found out it used to be the fourth house on the side of the road. Got looking into the history,
Hmm.
and of the three houses, two of them had been directly taken out by tornadoes, and the third one had been taken out by a fire caused by a tornado.
Hmm.
Yep, geology can be your friend.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Some folks that I used to know back when I was a child. A guy that used to work with my dad had a sizable farm, really near a divided four-lane highway, and this was back in the '60s when that was a big deal. But they had basically a ridge line, just part of the Appalachians up on one side of the place where their house was built. They had a cold water spring coming out of the ground. I mean, this is ice cold. They had chicken houses as well as cattle and horses and whatnot. But they had built this little shed right over where the spring came out of the ground, and that's where they stored the eggs. And they stayed refrigerator cold,
Mm-hmm.
if not colder. And all they did was go out, gather the eggs, bring the basket back, put them in the water. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. They were going to be good to go for as long as an egg can last in just about cold enough water to freeze solid.
Mm-hmm.
And this is straight out of the ground. No
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
energy involved at all. And then there are other places within 50 miles that had hot springs. And it's kind of strange, but then you remember how old the Smoky Mountains really are. I mean, they go all the way up from North Georgia on up towards Maine and then hop the Atlantic Ocean and go through England and France and on up into your neck of the woods. And that's still the Appalachians. It's just the Atlantic Ocean decided to happen
Yeah.
Yeah.
in between. Geologically, the rock formations are identical on both sides of the Atlantic. I mean, you can trace where one bunch of rock got split off from another bunch of rock,
Mm-hmm.
and this is
Like
this is one of those things that go, science is fun,
Mm-hmm.
because you can
yeah,
figure
let's
out
see
this
her
shit.
done. Like okay, it's a little south from me, like 300 miles. But
Mhm.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's the old ridge,
Mhm.
turning into Switzerland.
And then they are very very ancient mountains because
Yes.
they are very short now. They're very low. They've been worn away for generation after generation after generation and geological period after geological period. You have
Mm-hmm.
stuff that is new and they're all sharp edges and everything.
Pyrenees.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's way
Yeah.
more south.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But the Appalachians on both sides of the Atlantic, they are millions of years old and they have
Mhm.
suffered wear and tear. of all of those millions of years, and they're just if you're used to real mountains, they're just little foothills.
Yes. Now I've seen both.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I said 9 out of 10 tornadoes go north of Danville. When we first got married, we lived southeast of Danville. Technically in the country, technically in the city, depending on what department you talk to. And we had one coming across that way. And at that time, we had a friend from Kansas City staying with us, and he'd never seen a tornado. And he says, "If I go outside, do you think I can see it?" I'm like, "Sure, let's go out and we'll look for it," because that's what we do here in Central Illinois. We go out and look at the tornadoes.
Look
So
how
he's-
dangerous nature can be.
He's
Northwest
looking
Indiana
at, he's
too.
looking in the distance, and he says, "You think it'll be here, and you think it'll be here?" And I look up, and I'm like, "Well, if that starts rotating really badly, you could see one really close." And he looks up and and you can see the air just kind of doing this, just kind of real slow. And he's like,
Oh.
"That
Oh.
could be a tornado." And I'm like, "It's got a good possibility." And it was right over us. So I'm like, and I'm thinking, I really don't want to see one that closely. But if it drops, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
So, might as well stay out here and look at it.
We're gonna die anyway. Might as well be pretty.
There's a line from a Larry Niven novel where the heroes of the story are trying to wake up one of their uh, other members of the party who is an absolute coward and has curled up into a ball, almost comatose. And the narrator character of the story is start pulling on his leg, going, "Hey, come on, we ain't got time for this. If you don't uncurl right now, and you're the only one that can fly the ship because your controls don't work for us, so we can't do anything, and otherwise you're going to miss an opportunity that many astrophysicists would die to be able to experience." And the alien pilot uncurls and goes, "What's that?" The hero goes, "The chance to study sunspots from underneath." So
That'll
basically,
do the trick.
if the alien didn't become uncomatose real quick and start flying the ship, they were going to hit the sun.
Hmm. It's little details like that you got to pay attention to.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'll be right back.
All right. Be very, very quiet.
Or
She
hunting
might.
rabbits.
Yeah, that's the quote. But I was thinking she might trip over a cat. We might need to call 911.
That too.
Rich, you're being real quiet. Are you just enjoying us yammering on, or?
Uh, yeah, I can't count the number of tornadoes I've almost had to be in. And yeah, here in Northwest Indiana, same thing. It, like, oh, tornadoes coming through. Walk outside. Oh yeah, it's coming through that way.
Yeah, really. There it is.
And the closest I've been to a tornado, like I've had very bad summer storms or New Year storms where the storm you got 3 months earlier comes around in Europe
Mm.
and it wreaks havoc because we're not used to it.
Hey, if it survives all the way across the Atlantic, it's pissed.
Yeah, so I was with a friend of mine over on the other side of the country, which sounds very far, but it's literally 2.5 hours by train. Um, and storm was coming through in January a couple of years ago, and we were just looking out, going, you know what? We're at the eighth floor. We're fine. You know, like shit's gonna go down, but we're not gonna get much more than leaves. And we were looking down at this, row of houses with backyards in between. And you could see one after the other, the fences were falling down and the trees were, starting to topple over. And we're like, oh, we're in the middle of the storm now. We're like, oh, that looks like a twister. Is it going to touch? No, not enough water here. Oh, fair enough.
We were in a hotel in a little town up northwest of us, and I think it was a Holiday Inn. I don't know. It was a small hotel. It was only like four floors, I think, and we were on the fourth. And we hadn't quite gotten ready for bed yet, and the phone rings, and it's the front desk, and it's like, "Can you come down to the lobby, please? Is there a problem?" No, sir. Just would you both come down to the lobby, please? Yeah, there was a tornado on the way. They didn't think we needed to be up on the fourth floor.
Oh my god.
You're already halfway to the sky. What do you want to go down to the ground for?
Might as well have a closer look up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It went through an even smaller town, village of about 800 people. Well, that was before the tornado. After the tornado, everything was just flat. So it came within like 10 miles of where we were.
There was one when I was a kid, and it's quite famous in Athens. My dad had just left work and decided to go shopping, and wound up. He could see one tornado in the rearview mirror and one tornado in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's driving along the bypass. He's going, well, if I time things right, I won't catch up with that one, and that one won't catch up with me.
Oh, yeah.
So he gets all the way to one of the local stores, gets out, locks the pickup truck, goes into the store. The one behind him ripped the roof off the store he went into. And he's just going, I don't believe that was a skylight when I came in.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
there are half a dozen different spots where there are mobile home parks that, for some reason, people kept rebuilding after tornadoes came through and flattened everything. And at the moment, there is one of those places still in existence, but the other 3 to 5 were, as soon as people moved out of the trailers because they were cheap rent, the trailers were hauled off so nobody could rent them again. And finally, when the entire place was empty, it was bulldozed flat and not anything rebuilt there again. But you could drive through the path of that for at least 10 years after that and see where trees had been snapped off and some had been thrown down on the ground, and where there was people's stuff from a couple of the trailer parks that never got picked up because it was summertime and no telling whether or not there's going to be another one through next week or next month or whatever. We're just trying to get out of here alive. And there's one that it is in the absolute, I mean, Tornado Alley is not a bad term for this area,
Mm-hmm.
and it keeps getting rebuilt time and time again. And I do not know why. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
seriously, it's not a safe place to be because the local geography of the area funnels the storms right through there, and people keep coming back time and time again. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, why did people keep rebuilding um, Pompeii and Herculaneum when the volcano would erupt at
Yeah.
unpredictable intervals? And you go, how do people get it just so used to a major disaster happening that they go, oh, well, we survived, so we'll rebuild.
Stubbornness and
Mm-hmm.
arrogance.
Mm.
Yeah, so Chris
Not
says,
only that,
We will
but oh
conquer
my God,
nature.
that's
Carrie.
cool. Hey.
Hey, Kiri,
Hey, Gary.
2 tornadoes in a single day. Um, you lead an active life, my friend.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
Or
that's
live in
like,
just the
yeah,
wrong spot.
there's a part of Danville which every spring you can figure flood alert, like, yep, and we know exactly where it's going to be.
hmm
But those people never move out.
No.
They.
It makes you wonder why they don't put the same kind of tanks that are under houseboats and have just really tall anchors to where
Mm-hmm.
when
Mm-hmm.
the flood comes, the trailer just goes up in the air, and when the flood's gone, it sinks back down, and you reconnect the sewer line or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There's a cute town named Quincy on the other side of the state, and I used to go with Carl when he was allowed to travel, and amuse myself while he was in the office, and then we
Ah,
spend the night. First time coming out of Quincy, and it's April, and it starts snowing, and it's not easy to get to Quincy. At least it wasn't back then. Now they have a road directly to it, but you had to get on two different state highways and then go was basically a 2-lane back road to get to it back then. And yeah, we drove home in a blizzard in April. Okay, freak storm. We're not going there in the winter or spring anymore. Next time we went was in August. August is a safe month. Maybe some thunderstorms. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tornado as we left Quincy. And we found a Walmart that we took shelter in and was fine. And Carl says, there's not going to be a third time. You cannot go to Quincy with me anymore.
or was it just that the restraining orders keeping him from traveling had worn off?
No, stupid governor who thought that an IT could fix computers over the phone.
Not always.
Not always, no. And then he said you can't drive your personal car. You have to rent. And you can only rent economy cars.
Yeah, but Carl's 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
They're,
What
And
the hell?
bulletproof.
they don't make economy cars he can sit down in comfortably.
This is a man who buys his car not by looking under the hood, which is what I
Mm-hmm.
do, old farm girl, not by getting in and driving it, but simply by getting in to see if he hits his head when he gets in.
Yep.
They had a car show out at the airport, and all the
That's how
dealers
I
in
do it.
town took their cars out there. And we went out there to get a car. And he just started at one end, got in, hit his head, nope. Went to the next one, hit his head, nope. Went to the and Finally found one that he got in and didn't hit his head on it. He told the salesman, "We'll take this one." And the salesman was like, "Wouldn't you like to drive it first? Look under the hood." And I said, "Well, looking under the hood's my job." And he's like, "Okay." He made a sale though, so he was happy.
Mm-hmm.
I have to have headroom. I have to have at least a couple of inches between my copious tummy and the steering wheel, and I have to make sure that my knees aren't hitting the steering wheel.
Mm.
That's my three criteria for, and the car I have now, I don't have to worry about that in any way, shape, and or form. I'm so happy.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
That's
My-
like when we bought the van that we're driving now. We looked around Toyota. We decided, thanks to Top Gear, that we were going to get a Toyota. And we tried a couple of their cars, and they were too small. And we thought, oh, let's get a Highlander. And we got in, and oh, this is nice. Yeah, a lot of leg room. Our elbows are touching. No. Yeah.
Yep.
So
there are some reasons why some people only buy Land Rovers, because they're huge things. And then nowadays, people would buy Humvees and go, okay, yeah, I'll pay the extra $50,000, but
Mhm.
it's I've got leg room. That's all I need. I've
hey,
got headroom. That's all I need.
Carl says we win the lottery. We're getting a Humvee, and I'm like, oh, I have to wait that long.
We bought an Equinox because when we rented a vehicle to go down to Florida to visit Misty's parents and get our youngest, who stayed down there with them for a couple of weeks, beginning of summer a couple of years ago, just at the beginning of the vid. Yeah, and I just rented a mid-size SUV because I'm like, whatever, it's the same price between this and this. This I'll definitely have the leg room and the headroom that I want to have. Loved it, fell in love with it. Her old job, her boss was coming in a little too fast, and I'm thinking probably a little too high, and ended up hitting Misty's car because it was an icy day. And we thought, okay, not a whole lot of damage, no big deal. And we, when we have it taken, whatever, there's damage that's not related, or mechanical issues not related to the damage that was done, that we decided to go ahead and have done, and then have her insurance carry the rest. No, her insurance decided to go ahead and just total the car out. We're like, crap. So I'm like, okay, what can we get real fast? Carvana, got the Equinox, love the Equinox, because I'm looking through stuff and I'm like, Equinox, this is what we're getting. I'm like, Misty's the one going to be driving it, but I decided we're getting the Equinox because we love the Equinox. Well, I love the Equinox because she wasn't driving then. And I'm like, yes. My car finally died, and we needed to finally get me a new vehicle because I had to start going into the office. And with the way Misty worked and I worked, can't really both of us, work on a day that I've got to commute. So we ended up finding a Traverse, which is the Equinox's big brother. I really like the Traverse.
Well, we decided to get a brand new up till then both had been driving used vehicles. We decided to get a brand new one because he was putting a lot of miles on his for the state. Well, like I say, we watched Top Gear. Toyota is the first truck that has been to the North Pole. They drove one to the North Pole. Granted, it did have special provisions for it, but still the basic was Toyota. James drove a Toyota to the top of a live volcano. True, there were some things they
Mm-hmm.
had to do, but still, it was a Toyota. Then they had a show where they took a Toyota truck and they did a lot of things. For one thing, they changed it on a dock and let the sea come in. Well, the sea swept it off the dock
Mm-hmm.
and then deposited it on the beach. And the Toyota guy goes, okay, tinker, 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 boom, started right up.
Nice.
And I don't remember any of the others. Then they put it on top of a building that was going to be demolished. And they imploded the building. They came down. It smashed it like a pancake. Toyota mechanic goes in, tinker, 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 boom, like that's the one we want.
Yep, right there. That is life proof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, just 2 years after we got it, governor says you can't use your uh, personal car anymore, and if you want to go someplace, you have to rent, and that's the only way you're going to get your stipend for driving someplace.
What the hell?
And Carl rented one once, the economy car, and I did not go with him because I'm like, I can't fit in that thing because I'm fat.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes home and he says, I don't care if they don't pay me. I'm driving my personal car from now on if I have to do it on my own dime.
Yeah.
When I had to buy another car in 2007 because the teenager texting on his phone rear-ended our Toyota and
Mm-hmm.
totaled it out. I searched around and searched around and searched around, and I took advice from my brother-in-law, who is an automobile mechanic, and I took advice from my dad, who used to build Chevy Bel Airs back in the late 50s. And my brother-in-law said, you know, these Kia vans actually wind up needing the least amount of repairs over the longest period of time. And Dad said, you get the biggest damn motor you can, and if you can keep your foot out of it, you'll get good gas mileage. So I wound up with a 280 horsepower Kia van. Plenty of leg room, plenty of headroom, and yes, as long as I don't stomp the pedal, it gets somewhere around 40 miles a gallon, which
That is
is,
not bad at all.
Not bad at all,
it
yeah.
was really impressive. And it's lasted us since, it's a 2006. We bought it in 2007. Got it through CarMax. It had 20,000 miles on it. Now it has something close to 200,000 miles on it. And I've had to have the brakes replaced. Soon it will be twice. I am putting another alternator on it myself because I can't afford to put it in the garage. Um, and had new tires put on it about 3 times. And that's all the repairs we've ever had to do to the damn thing.
Kia's
I mean,
good. Yeah.
this is a frickin' tank. And it's got 280 horsepower, which means that Lindsay refuses to drive it because when she starts trying to drive it like she does her her Bel
Dinky
Air,
toy.
her what is it? It's a Pontiac. It's a not a Le Mans. It's a LeSabre, Buick LeSabre. That's what it is. When she tries to drive it the way she drives that car, it's like all of a sudden she's trying to adjust from Um, Basically, a pretty good car with pretty good reflexes as far as steering and braking is
Mm-hmm.
concerned to a rocket sled. I
Yep.
mean, you punch down the gas pedal on the Buick, and it goes, okay. Let me think about how to do that. Okay, I think I need to speed up now. You punch down on the gas pedal on the Kia, and it's like, what part of the sound barrier did you really want to break, and do you want to do it again? We're coming up on Mach 2 now, and you've only
Uh-huh.
gone 300 feet.
My so my mom, her previous car was a Fiat 500 with from an owner that definitely did not know how to drive. At
Mm.
least not what a gas pedal was. Like it is exactly like you pump down on the gas pedal and it's gonna be like, what 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 do I gotta move? So we got her a Daewoo, which was a brand that we had no idea existed. I think it turned into a Peugeot, but I'm not sure. Anyway, this thing, except for the tires having to be fixed and a little bit of rust on the doors and the back, it is in perfect state from 2008, and it has been standing still since then. Literally, the tires had to be changed. That's it.
Mm.
If she doesn't pay attention, and she does not pay attention, because she drives like a man.
Mm. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah, no, she can go 220 kilometers an hour on that thing, or 150 miles. And that's in fourth gear, not even fifth. I've had to tell her, like, Mom, stop following traffic because you're exceeding traffic and you're not even noticing. That that truck is not supposed to go over 50 miles an hour. It's doing 60, and you're speeding it. It is now a tiny dot in the back in the rear view mirror. It, it's it's terrifying to be in a car with her sometimes.
Well, I am a very good driver, and I can say that because men trust me with their cars. I have driven Camaros, I've driven Firebirds, I've driven all sorts of cars. So Carl didn't think about it when he let me drive the little Omni as we're going down to Florida. And we're in Alabama, just north of, I think it was north of Birmingham. And I'm going down the road and it's shaking a little bit. I'm like, does it always shake at this speed? And he says, I don't know. It's never been to 75 before.
Yep, yep.
Oh, okay.
That was my mom going. Yeah, my previous car would start shaking at 90 kilometers an hour, or 55.
Hi.
This one
Hi.
doesn't even start shaking until it's going 150. It is
Yeah.
a straight bolt going down the highway. Doesn't matter if it needs to turn, it will turn. It drives like a charm,
Mom
which is
had one like
terrifying.
that. Back when I was in high school, Dad bought Mom a Pontiac uh, Grand Am, um, V8 with a two-barrel carburetor,
Ooh.
and my sister and I called it the Batmobile because it was all rounded edges and everything.
Atomic
And
batteries to speed.
If you put your foot down, this thing would mortally fly. I mean, it would scare me.
Charcoal.
And I don't know how mom kept it under control, but she did. I don't know how my sister kept it under control if she tried. But this was it let's say 0 to 60 was too short to measure without a stopwatch.
Yep.
I mean, standing start to just about the far side of the local speed limits, under 10 seconds
Yeah.
for a mid 70s car bought in the 80s. That's not at all unimpressive.
What do you mean 50 miles an hour in second gear? Yes, we can.
It was automatic. Y-
Yeah, that doesn't help sometimes.
Believe me, the only improvement I would have made to this thing was put a AM FM radio and a cassette deck and some really good speakers in it. But it would. I mean, the
Sissy dog.
phrase "bat out of hell" was meant for this car. And the previous car my mom drove was a '63 Chevy Impala, which had a 283 V8 small block. It was impressive in and of itself. I mean, for a mid '60s car, bought brand new, it lasted us. Well, I was driving it when I was in high school in the '70s, and this thing, we finally parked it one day, and mom and dad bought me a Chevy Impala, about $500 worth of impervious tank from
Yes.
the early '70s, and the Impala did not get driven again until old Dad sold it to somebody. Now they walked out there with
Two beans.
the
Two
little
beans.
gas canister that we used for the lawnmowers. Dribbled a little bit of gas in the tank. Damn thing had not been started in 2 years. Did not charge the battery. Turned the key. Motherfucker fired up.
Hmm.
And I'm going, they don't build them like they used to.
No, they don't.
Those were wonderful cars.
Oh,
My
Lord.
first beast
Well,
was a 75 Impala.
oh,
I
uh,
was a yachtsman.
Mm.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, I had a 67 Caprice. I mean, there were reviews in Playboy that it was a two door, and they called it Carl's Bad Cavern. You slide the front seat forward, you had an entire motel room in the back seat.
Hmm. My
I mean,
first car was a 68 Delmont 88. And yes, Delmont, not Delta. You know how big a Delta was?
mm-hmm.
Delta was Delmont's little brother.
Oh Lord. Oh, somebody's tearing down an old house, Civil War era house, if not older, here up the road from us, and they have done away with all with the barn and all the underbrush and everything. Turns out they had a junkyard back there that nobody knew about.
Oh,
There is now sitting up near the road on display. It looks like a '38 Ford Coupe.
oof.
Yes,
Nice.
black on black on black. I don't know what the interior's like. I don't know what the engine is like, and I'm going, if I win the lottery, I want that sucker, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not going to happen this week because somebody's going to buy that sucker real quick. But um, as 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 far as and I can see back into the rest of the cars there. There's about three more from the 40s that are sitting there, and I can't even. They're too far away for me to be able to tell what they are because I'm only able to look as I drive past. So it's like, oh, okay, don't cross the yellow line. So I can't really tell, but there's a couple of other collector's items in there,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some farm trucks and a couple of other things that whoever goes through there and manages to get these things to crank up and roll off is
Mm-hmm.
going to have some serious restoration money involved in putting them back on the road. But they are just, I drive by and they've got this thing parked out there where I can see it. And I'm going, won't,
On that. Oh
can't
yeah.
have, but won't. Oh, Lord. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Looks like nobody's ever put a scratch on it. Original paint. I can't tell whether the tires are still inflated or not. I doubt it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But and I don't know what the power plant was back in the day that would be in that sort of thing. But I keep hearing Commando Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen going, Hot Rod Lincoln.
Oh yeah, that's
Mm.
one of my favorite songs.
Kitty, we're not trying to ignore you, by the way. It's just, that we're enjoying the talk. And, well, it's morning for me. It's 10 a.m. by now.
Yep, we're 3 hours into the program now, so we're not going to get any repeat viewers. Not even Carl's going to last for 3 hours.
No.
So um, folks, I think we should pretty much call it. Although I hate to, because it's been enormous fun,
It is.
and
Yeah, Misty's got to
uh,
get up in a couple of hours, and if I don't spend at least a couple of hours with her, she's going to sleep for even less, worth as it is. So,
hmm
Yeah.
one of the few people that my presence actually gives them better sleep and comfort and stuff like that.
mm. Lindsay's the same way. She's going to want me to go and snuggle, and then she's got to get up and go to church. She's made a peach crumble and chicken salad for
Ooh.
fifth Sunday at church because they always have covered dish for the fifth uh, Sunday of each month. It's just one of those special events they do.
Mhm.
So she's worried that nobody will like anything, and I'm going, honey, I've living off your cooking for 15 years now. I am now an enormous blimp because of your. I swear, I probably weigh just as about as much as Rick, but I'm about 2 foot shorter. So,
Oh, now see, we sleep in different rooms. He has to have it, no lights, absolute quiet, and because of the tinnitus, I leave the TV on all night to
mm,
drown out the noise in my ears. I've got a light on because I'm going to get up, and I know better than to stumble around in the dark.
Mm.
And I'm a bit of an active sleeper.
Mm.
Yeah, I've been known to the few times we have actually just slept together. May have clocked him a couple of times.
I know
mm,
that one. especially when I was still in construction, I would continue shoveling and stuff like that. And, my ex would be next to me, bruised and battered the next day. And like,
Yeah.
what did you do last night? I was like, well, I think I was still working.
I remember
Can't
one
count the number
time.
of times Misty's clocked me straight in the CPAP.
Mm.
I can't
Yep.
remember. I can't remember which wife it was. I think it was Lindsay, but it would have been when we were very, very new to each other. And I was having a nightmare dreaming about work. And she told me the next day. I sat up straight in bed and started throwing the covers off and everything. Jam up, and I'm fighting fiberglass going haywire on the production line, and I'm at home asleep, and I'm going, oh, I'm so sorry. And she goes, no, it was cute, but next time try not to thrash around so much.
Hmm. And sleep is
Yeah.
one thing, but if you want to wake me up, do not come close. Do it from at least arm's length away because I will come up fighting. Don't ask me
Yep.
why.
If you don't wake me gently, if you wake me violently, do it from across the room.
Mm.
I've got two older sisters. If they woke me up violently, and my
Mm-hmm.
sister's the same way. If you wake them up violently, they swing before they have a chance to wake up.
Oh,
The only way that you will
violence,
wake me
yeah.
up
I
happily
was a little
is if you're
shit.
saying coffee is ready.
Oh, now when I was a kid, I got used to my dad walking in my bedroom, flipping the white light switch on, and going, "Dan, it's time for school." That's all he had to say. I'm up. You know. It's the same sort of thing as if I doze off, Donna or Anna Marie saying, "Dan, wake up."
Mm-hmm.
Same sort of,
Dan.
except the light switch doesn't come on. Um, you get programmed into these
Oh,
things.
yeah.
All right, folks. It's time for the bedtime story, and I shall see you hopefully Thursday night. If not in other programs on the Rising Tide Network that isn't supposed to exist anymore, but we said, fuck it, Brian, we're going to keep doing Rising Tide.
Mhm.
How dare you deny our.
It really,
Exactly.
no, yeah, you've resigned, but we haven't, so.
Exactly.
It's time for me to not be your bed anymore.
Oh, you're not talking to me.
Oh, you can be my bed, honey.
Mm. Oh, sorry, I really can't do that.
Helen.
However much it would be pleasant, but no. And you know exactly why.
Mm-hmm.
This lady I got now, I cannot harm in any way, shape, or form. Um, and we're not poly, so that puts a real kink in things, but not in a good way.
Technically, it takes the kink out of things.
I
Yes,
was
it
gonna
does.
say
Yes, that's a better way to put it. Thank you. Yes.
we are, and Kiki's got nothing to do with it.
Mm. In that
Yes.
case, let me. Oh, that's the
Wake
right
up and say
directory.
hi.
Aww. I don't know where my little fluffball went. Probably sleeping on the couch again.
Yeah, we probably got about 5 on the porch and the other 10 or 12 out in the chain link fence going, will
He's
you
on
shut
10,
up? It's late.
and he's crossed over in the window.
Oh. Well, folks, I'll see you as soon as I get the next opportunity, and hopefully it is real soon. Yeah, I have enjoyed this. I hope you have too. And I hope anybody that's going to be watching on the replay has just as much fun as we have had, if not more.
Oh, yes.
Which
Next
sounds
week I will not be able to join because I will be gone at a festival.
ah.
So
Well, you'll have to give us an after action report when you are able to rejoin us and tell us about the festival.
oh, totally.
And 1, 2, 3, here we go with the bedtime
Good
story.
night, everybody.
Good
Good night.
night.
Stay awesome, lovelies.
Take a light.
Transmission overload.
System will shut down.
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 Transmission overload.
System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down.